And we beginner's luck.
Yeah.
We seem to be up and running.
There
Who
you
knows
go.
if it'll work next time?
But it's working now.
But it's working now, and we're excited to be able to bring you a video component of one of our favorite places, Island Wing Company.
Yeah, the bad thing was you had spent so much time on this, you weren't really able to track down any of the good players today. I know you had a trouble.
That's a shame.
Yeah. So Devad Wilson, was he available for you today?
Poor Devad.
Devad.
Yeah. Hey, he's getting some good
pretty
praise
good
from the
player.
defensive
Pretty good
coordinator.
player.
But yeah, I had a chance to catch up with Calvin Ridley after practice. Obviously, he's sort of been the man of the hour since training camp began. And I tell you, first off, unbelievable attitude, and just I mean the positivity that the fans have for him. I mean, he honestly was signing. He wasn't in the autograph line, so the receivers weren't in the autograph line. But, I mean, he must have had 50 to 70 people come out onto the field and want to take pictures and get autographs, and he was very accommodating. Yeah, and then we had a great conversation about football, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it because he feels like they're really on to something special.
Yeah.
And so and as we do as well. So, yeah, fun catching up with Calvin.
And we'll hear from him in the first or the second segment of the program in about 8 minutes from now.
I don't think we'll see him on Saturday based off of what Doug said this morning.
Is that right? Yeah.
I don't think we'll see him more than the starters.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he'll play.
But I think he's going to play.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
My guess would be all 11 of the available starters on offense and defense will run out to start the game. That would be my guess, including Calvin. I would think Calvin, Zay, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence in the line all start the game. That'd be my read. I think they all start the game. Now, to your point, Lauren, I think you're probably right. I don't think he's running a lot of routes. I don't think he's catching 8 balls in the first quarter. I think where you're headed is right. But I think he wants to get – don't you get the vibe that Doug wants them all to get the feel?
Yeah.
Get the feel of locker room, pregame, dressed out, run out to start the game. That's the read I get is he wants them all to kind of go through the process.
Yeah, and again, I think with Calvin's situation, the question was sort of like, well, because he hasn't played in so long, will he play more than the other regular starters? And that's where Doug was like, no, he's not going to do that. He'll come out when – the ones come out. So I would think 8 to 12 snaps for that group is usually what you see, and when Trevor exits, Calvin will exit, and then it gets interesting because Doug did say today that Walker Little will only play left tackle in this game. He's not going to move inside to guard once the ones come out, and Cam Robinson's going to play tackle as well. So Walker Little will play with the ones. He'll come out after the 8 to 12 snaps, and then Cam will go in. And I don't know that Cam will get all the reps with the Beathard crew, but that's where he'll get his work.
Yeah, I guess because I would bubble wrap Calvin. That's where
I wouldn't play any of them.
Right,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't do that either, but I especially wouldn't
Right.
play certain people, and Calvin to me is
I
one of them.
wouldn't play Trevor Lawrence. If Micah Parsons is wearing a uniform with pads, if he is on the field, I'm not taking my chances.
Yeah.
I mean, Micah Parsons is killing his own quarterback in training camp.
That was nuts.
I mean, they're having to tell him, pull off. And he's like, I can't do it. I have focus on the field, and it's really hard for me to let up. I don't want him anywhere near Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
In an exhibition, and, if it's one thing, if it's a regular season, you have no choice. But you have a choice here.
Yeah.
But he's going to play him, and to your point, Frank, Doug said, he wants them to feel that game vibe and that energy and get out there and get some work in.
Listen, the other thing, too, is you can always prevent your quarterback from ever getting hit by quick game, handoff, couple screen passes, a max protect deep ball, and get him out of there. When quarterbacks get hurt, it's because you're trying to win and move the ball. You're down. You're in the pocket. You're not max protecting. You're holding the ball a little bit longer because the play really matters. Well, that's what I don't think you're going to see. I don't think you're going to see that. I do think you're going to see it a little next week. My guess is, to your point, one series, 7 or 8 plays, if that, this game, then that's it. Next week, despite the practices, remember the practices are non-count. You can't hit the quarterback. You can in the game. I'm gonna guess he plays next week for quarter and a half. I'm gonna guess that's the game he plays. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. I think it's a football. I think next week it's a football game. They treat it. You're wincing over here, Lauren.
Yeah, because they're going to have joint practices for 2 days.
But I think they're going to treat it, and I might be wrong.
Right. No,
but I think they're going to treat it like a football game next week.
Probably. It just makes me wince.
And then I don't think he plays again until you head to Indianapolis.
Right. I think that's what I think is so interesting because the joint practices are next week. And so does Doug look at it and say, we've gotten some really good work, ones against Detroit. I don't really then want to put them out in a live environment.
And that could be the case.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. My guess is he'll play them against Detroit, but maybe not to like halftime like you traditionally would. And, next week, the Lions game is the third preseason game.
That's right.
The traditional
in
third
the old
preseason,
school,
in the old school way of doing it, where you would play to like half or maybe even a little over that. I would think that because of the two joint practices, assuming he likes what he sees, that'll be pared back. Maybe you do a quarter. He'll probably play him, but maybe it's just a quarter instead of a full half.
Yeah, and I would think we all will agree, and I may be wrong, but I think we'd all sit here and agree that the pads aren't even on when Miami comes to town. The pads will be on when they warm up. They'll warm up in pads. Mm-hmm. They'll warm up with everybody out there, and then remember, you still have all 90 guys here. So I would guess that pretty quickly. I'd be surprised if the pads don't come off. When you go back in the locker room before the team runs out on the field, don't you? It'll be that game.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, so I think that's how they'll do it. All right, so a lot of things to talk about today on the program. I'm going to talk about coaches today. I'm going to talk about Nick Saban and Bill Belichick and maybe different paths, and I'll talk about that coming up, but it's interesting to me. Stanford and Cal, they're headed to the ACC, aren't they? It's going to happen
like
in them. The ACC is going to add them. Mm-hmm. It looks like it, and I'm starting to get an understanding as to why now, and we'll certainly talk about that. I wasn't sure where that thing was going to go, but it now looks like that thing's going to happen. So we'll certainly talk about that coming up today on the program. A fun topic. If you could go one place to watch a game that you've never been, you could only pick one. Not a concert, one sporting event. Where would you go? You had one you could go to, and it's paid for. Now, if I say paid for, you're going to say I want to go to the Australian Open. All right, but apart from that part of it,
right?
What one event? It might just be a baseball game at Yankee Stadium. It could be. But where would you go?
I'm sure that'll be Hayes' answer.
But where would you go if you could go one place? And we'll get to that coming up. That'll be kind of a fun topic today. As we told you earlier, Mark Lamping's going to be by today at 5 o'clock. We'll call him up. Mark went through the whole huddle-up process. He had all the huddles. He did a fantastic job. He worked so hard getting all around, talking to as many people as he could. Those little town halls is what they were, and we talked to Mark before the one at Jack's Golf. We were out there doing the show. And realistically, the question becomes now for Mark Lamping, what did you learn from it? I'm glad you did it. What were kind of the craziest questions you were asked? And where do you stand now? And what's the progress? And we'll do that. We'll do that on a regular basis. Mark's a great friend. He's very important to where this city's headed. We all know that from a facility standpoint. He built MetLife Stadium in New York. He was critical to the growth of the St. Louis Cardinals. We all know how important he's been in his career even before he got here. And this will be one of the most important things ever happened to Jacksonville on many fronts. So where are we on that? Where are we on the Four Seasons? Where are we on what's the update? Again, we're months, at the very least, months away from a stadium deal. But how have you had conversations? I don't know how that works. Has he sat down with Mayor Deegan and had the conversation? I don't know. And so,
have you noticed leaving the stadium, the construction project across has signs that say Four Seasons?
Oh yeah, sure.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, the Four Seasons. I mean that is going to be an amazing project for Jacksonville. It really is, and it is happening. So all that coming up today. But when we come back, I want you to hear from the newest Jaguar and maybe the most exciting Jaguar, Calvin Ridley. Has been all the talk in the off season. Hayes caught up with the Jaguar wideout. That's how we'll kick off the program. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Get it in here. I got one thing to say. This is when the big dogs come out. Okay? You can't roll with the big dogs. Stay on the board.
1010XL. Jacksonville Sports Radio Big Dog. Now, the Florida Gator Report on 1010XL, brought to you by Darley's Plumbing.
The Florida Gators entered into late phases of camp this past week. Coach Billy Napier spoke to media on the transfer portal impact on the team.
There's a handful of these guys that have tremendous maturity, experience, leadership. There's an awareness. They come in with a different perspective. They see what's positive. They see what's negative. And I think that's been really beneficial for our team.
Hey, folks, it's Frank Frangie, and I want to thank Coach Ellen and the team at Darley's for providing all the plumbing work for a brand new walk-off charities building that's being built. Being a San Souci guy, I've known the team at Darley's for years. They're a company I trust for my plumbing needs, and you can too.
Thanks for those kind words, Frank. At Darley's Plumbing, we don't just do residential house calls. We're your first draft pick for commercial business plumbing too. Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts.
Lauren Brooks here for Hodges Mazda, your hometown Mazda dealer. They strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. The sales staff doesn't work on commission, allowing Hodges Mazda to put your best interest first. Hodges Mazda is located right up the road and has a large selection of new and used vehicles to choose from. Plus, every vehicle comes with 2 years free maintenance. And even if you don't buy a vehicle from Hodges Mazda, they will still buy your vehicle. Visit them today during the Season of Discovery sales event or shop online at HodgesMazda.com. That's HodgesMazda.com.
If you're from the South, you know all about fried green tomatoes and BLTs, so put some South in your mouth and get to Bono's to try the fried green tomatoes appetizer served with Reggie Ranch and one-of-a-kind Bono's BLT with smoked brisket, lettuce, and fried green tomatoes served with one southern side. Frank Frangie here, and I'm telling you, I love fried green tomatoes, and this sandwich is out of sight. So head to your local Bono's today. The fried green tomatoes appetizer and BLT is a summer sensation. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to one commercial today, listen to this one.
Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are doing it again, recognizing the local heroes in our community with a brand new car. That's right, we'll be giving away a brand new car, cash, and free oil changes for life to our local heroes. Nominate a law enforcement officer, firefighter, EMT, nurse, teacher, veteran, or your local WOW hero. Head to localwowheroes.com to nominate and vote today. Let's wow our heroes.
Break in Mandarin's favorite new sports bar with Joe, Matt, Mia, and Leon this Friday, August 11th, as Players Grill off San Jose in Mandarin celebrates this location's grand opening. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley have been helping clients all over Florida with their construction perm loans for 34 years. Construction perm loans are not easy to find because a lot of banks and credit unions don't understand them, and therefore they don't like to do them. Well, your problem is solved. Trustline Mortgage wants to help you build your dream home. Our construction perm loans are single close, so you save money by not having to close twice, like with other lenders. Some of our construction perm loans allow you to lock in your interest rate up front. And if interest rates go down, we'll give you the better rate. We offer up to 100% VA loans, up to 96.5% for FHA loans, and up to 95% for conventional loans. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. That's 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you build your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing lender. MLS number 331480.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
What's causing your hair to fall out? Can your hair grow back? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Call right now for your free analysis, 904-777-IHRS, or visit hairforme.com. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They are the only clinic to offer the trademarked multi-unit hair grafting PRP platelet-rich plasma and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS, or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
Frank Frangie here. Do you find yourself straining to catch every word, missing out on the sweet sounds of life? Then you need to go to see Jerry Howard at Ponte Vedra Hearing Associates. His team will assess your hearing needs with a free screening and recommend a personalized solution. Ponte Vedra Hearing Associates offers professional quality hearing health care with the most competitive pricing. Call 404-5108. That's 404-5108 or visit PonteVedraHearing.com today.
In your free time, the last thing you want to do is clean your house.
Right.
First Coast Home Pros offers luxurious maid services you can trust. Weekly, bi-weekly, or even one-time deep house cleaning. FirstCoastHomePros.com. FirstCoastHomePros.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the program. Glad you're with us. We're live from Island Wing Company on the south side. Frank Frangie, Hayes Carlyon, Lauren Brooks with you as we continue along here. I'm trying to remember a newcomer about whom there's been this much conversation in Jaguars history that wasn't a draft pick. Calais was there before he played? I don't think there was.
It kind of took to the opener when he had the 4 sacks against Houston.
But before he got there, I mean, Bryce Pop.
Julius Thomas.
Julius Thomas is in the conversation. I agree with that. But there haven't been many, have there? I mean, there haven't been very many guys where there's been this much conversation. I'm trying to think. Bryce Pop comes to mind. Carnell Lake back in the day. I'm not sure they were as good as the conversation, but I mean, before they ever played a game. Julius Thomas is a very good call because he had scored 24 touchdowns his last 2 years, those 2 years in Denver, 12 a year. I'm trying to think who else.
There was a lot of excitement for Boye because they had beat out the Texans for him. That was one that came down to like the wire.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting Boye.
But it wasn't like this.
Well, no one's had a camp like this.
Yeah, I don't even mean the camp. I mean the conversation in the fan base.
Yeah, because you're not going to get as excited for Shaq Griffin, the corner. Like, that doesn't necessarily.
And that's true, too. It's the position.
The position. And, like, Foye. We should have been excited about Foye, but we weren't.
I got one for you. How about Foles?
Yeah.
Foles might be first until now. I mean, forget what happened.
Right.
The conversation before. Now, some people didn't love the signing.
Right.
But there was an awful lot about the money he got, how excited Coughlin was. Remember that? How Tom Coughlin, when he was running the team at the time. He's certainly in the conversation.
See, it's interesting because I think people were excited about Ridley when, like, the trade was announced, but it wasn't until he got on the field and was torching guys.
Yeah, it wasn't
every
last
day
October.
that it was like, oh wow.
And we saw the drills. You saw the quick drills and all that. I think that was all part of it.
Yeah, because we didn't have the opportunity to watch him last year. That's the other thing. Like, had he been traded and we could have seen what he could do. It was a while.
Yeah, it was. So anyway, Calvin Ridley is here. Hayes has done a great job by now. You've been listening to the Hayes Carlyon one-on-ones every day on the program. This will be as fun a one as any of them earlier today. Hayes Carlyon with Jaguars wide receiver Calvin Ridley.
All right, we are pleased to be joined with Jaguars receiver Calvin Ridley here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Man, it's great to see you. How you doing?
Good to see you, my man.
How much? I'm good. No, that's great. How much fun is this? So many people want to take pictures with you. I mean, what's the vibe been like?
It's been good. It's been like very welcoming. I think the fans like me, and I like them.
What's it been? You've made so many plays in camp. What's it been like when you hit a deep one and the fans come to life for you?
Feels good. Like when we went to that stadium practice, that was more like, all right, I'm gonna show them a little something more today because it feels game atmosphere like. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try to amp it up a little bit more for myself.
Absolutely. That was a great workout. And then you guys went live the other day. How'd you feel like the offense held up, Calvin, in the live practice?
Yeah, we did pretty good, man. We like I said, we're in training camp. We're getting better together. And I've been a part of some teams. I think this team is pretty good, man. I'm not trying to get ahead of us. And I always told myself after all those years, I thought those teams was good I was on. that I would just let it play out. But I think this one's pretty good, and I think we got a lot of, hungry players on our team, and we work hard, and Coach Doug practices hard, and, we're coming back, and we're swinging every day, and the competition level is very high here, so I think it's going to transition into the season very well.
It's interesting. Christian, Zay, Evan, they were all here last year. Jamal was here last year. But Doug was saying earlier today that you've done an amazing job of getting to their level of knowledge of the offense. What was that challenge like for you?
In OTAs, it was just like, what the? It just, here we go again, learning another offense. It was that, honestly. And then, just hearing it so many times over and over, going up, working with, Coach Tyler, Coach Chad, just getting the extra work. It started to click really easy. And like I said, I'm a student of the game. I learned pretty fast, and it was sticking to my mind pretty good. I got a good memory. Like, I could take pictures in my mind and see it. And right now, I think I'm pretty good. I'll mess up every now and then still, but
right. But that's everybody's human.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about the offense, though, for sure.
I mean, obviously, you've been a big time player for your whole career, but does this feel like this might be home? The way the fans have sort of embraced you, obviously the role you could have on a team that might win a whole lot. Do you kind of get a sense that, man, this might be my spot?
Man, honestly, I'm going to be real with you. I hope it is.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I'm not a type of player that, hops. If it wasn't for the situation, I would be in Atlanta. I'm going to just be honest with you.
Right.
I love it here.
Yeah.
Everything, the receiver room, the quarterback, come on.
Yeah.
The head coach, the GM, the fans, the living. Mm-hmm. I mean, it would suck, to leave. But that's why I'm going to do everything in my power to play good and make sure that, this is my home. Which, I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I mean, I would love to stay here and, continue to, grow as a human here and as a man, with my family.
Absolutely. How is your family doing? Are they enjoying it?
Yeah, man, my family is on Mount Everest. Good. You know what I'm saying? I'm back. I'm happy. Yeah. And, that's all they really care about. They're so excited, to come to the games again. You just seeing me all over the internet. They just, me getting back to, me. So they like that. Yeah.
How much are you looking forward to Saturday playing? Doug said that, you guys will play a little bit against the Cowboys. How much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Getting back out there, getting in that nice stadium they got, and just running around, flying around. Hopefully I get some targets out there. And I don't want to show too much, but, just get the feel, get the jitters out a little bit, And just should be just an amazing and very exciting moment for me to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Has anything surprised you about Trevor? Is he better than what you expected? How would you evaluate the training camp that he's had?
Yeah, he is better than I expected because, I was just watching it from a distance. And then just getting out here with him, some of the throws he can do and the arm strength he has and just the IQ he has and just the mentality and how nice of a person and how locked in he is. But the arm strength is just ridiculous. I kind of I don't want to just compare him to nobody, but he's definitely like a Patrick Mahomes type of player. You know what I'm saying? Superstar type player for sure. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just very, very happy to be out there on that field with him.
Awesome stuff. I know the Jags fans are excited to have you. I know Trevor and everybody's excited to have you here. And thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Best of luck to you.
Sir, thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate Calvin's time, and that's quite a comparison. That's what you want to hear about Trevor Lawrence, is that he reminds Calvin Ridley of Patrick Mahomes. And if he can have, a step closer to Patrick Mahomes this season, Jaguars going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, it seems like Calvin wants to play, too. I wonder if Calvin had gone to Doug, hey, I'm good, if they would have, decided he doesn't need to play in the preseason. But it sounds like he wants to get out there. Like he said, get those jitters out. He seems like a really happy guy. Even though he's been through a lot, he genuinely seems happy to be here and happy in general.
Yeah, he seems almost, there's a gentle spirit to him, isn't there? Thank you so much, he said. I mean, he appreciates, there's a gentle spirit there with him that, and listen, by his own admission, this whole thing rocked him, man. This is a guy that you saw his letter in Players Tribune, how hard it was growing up and the tough time he went through, and then the bad choice by his own admission that he made in Atlanta and how much he learned from it and how grateful he is for this second lease on football life. That was real. I think that stuff was real, what he said, Hayes and Lorna. I think he really felt that way, and golly, and not only does he get a second lease on football life, but in a great city with a great quarterback and a great play caller and really good receivers around him with whom he's bonded already. This isn't you got a second lease on life and now you get to go play on bad team with journeyman quarterback with at least you're playing again. This is new lease on life with a team that seems by all accounts, take we homers out of it, truly upwardly mobile. This as second leases on football lives go, this is a really good one. I think that's kind of the point.
I couldn't agree more. I think environmentally this is perfect for Calvin Ridley. And, the team is set up well to, if he has that kind of 1,400-yard double-digit touchdown season, they've got the money to pay him big. So he's right. He probably never gets out of Atlanta if the suspension doesn't happen because of how talented he was. But it did, and he's here, and hopefully he has a huge season. And, one thing that's interesting is you look at the Justin Herbert deal and what it did to the Chargers. Well, I've always assumed the Trevor Lawrence extension will come pretty much right after this season ends. But it really doesn't. And Herbert's didn't. Burrow obviously didn't. And you got to think they're going to get something done in the next few weeks. I don't think Jalen Hurts was right in the beginning of the offseason. I think that one was closer to the start of the regular season. The point is, I've always thought next year is going to be tough because they're going to have to factor in Trevor's new deal. Well, they're not. Herbert's number this year is incredibly low because of how late they did the deal, the extension. So, really in 24, they're still going to have another year, even with a new deal. They're still going to have another year where Trevor's number is going to be really low. And and they've got obviously cap space now that as of now they would roll over. So would love to see Calvin Ridley, if he has a huge year, be a Jaguar for a very long time.
So you're saying we're going to win the Super Bowl this year and next year because we
chance.
can afford
this
everyone.
year and next year.
Well, I kept
start.
Yeah.
I don't think the Patriots.
Then we don't have any money.
I don't think the Patriots were going to stop after a few Super Bowls, Carline, for crying out loud.
Valid
well, I kept thinking that this is their last year
Right.
to enjoy his rookie contract. They really, I think, if they do the contract next July or August, like we expect, and they're really going to have one more year in addition where they are able to have him on a very low number and have what should be a really good team around him. Then in 25, the number's going to kick in, and it's going to be tough.
Have we seen a quarterback franchise tagged recently?
Let's see, Lamar, but they came to a deal.
Right. He'd be the most
But
recent.
the money is so extreme, it's hard.
Right.
It
makes no sense, basically, to franchise tag a quarterback.
The money is so significant, so it'd be awfully hard. So great work on Calvin Ridley.
Thanks.
And I can't wait to watch him play. Again, I know people believe you need the preseason, but gosh, it seems like forever between now and Indianapolis, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel that way to you? It just seems like let's get to Indy. Let's get to Indy. I need a steak at St. Elmo's, Brooks, with a big old shrimp cocktail. And then I want to go to bed at the Marriott or wherever we're staying. I want to sleep well. I want to get good sleep that night. Then wake up the next morning and do the prayer. Let's go. Anthony Richardson's going to be 7 for 24. That's my goal at 38-12. That's the game I want. 38-12 is what I'm looking for.
We're a month and 1 day away.
From 38-12?
Yeah.
Okay.
The preseason is a tease, is what
Yes,
it is. That's what the preseason is. And
Well,
I know it's important, for the back half of the roster.
All right, we'll take a break. More Jaguar talk coming up, including our friend Mark Lamping. He will join the program at 5 o'clock to talk about the latest. Is there any update on stadium conversations and a whole lot more now that the huddles are kind of over? We'll do that and a whole lot more. But let's talk some conference realignment. Got a thought or two after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
You're AFC South champs, baby.
It's a new season.
I like where this team's headed.
A new era.
The players here want to win.
A new hope.
I want to win.
We're all here to win.
Guys have that feeling, the taste in their mouth.
This is where the dream begins. The Dallas Cowboys. Hear it happen Saturday at 2 on 1010XL.
Frank here, and it's summertime, and longer days mean more time to spice up your morning. Looking for an unexpected breakfast experience? How about a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit? It's back on the menu for good, seasoned with a spicy blend of peppers and freshly breaded chicken paired perfectly with a lightly buttered biscuit. The Chick-fil-A Spicy Chicken Biscuit makes a bold start to your summer morning. Savor each delicious bite with Chick-fil-A Spicy Chicken Biscuit today.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is the sports medicine leader in Northeast Florida. We're proud to be the official sports medicine provider for your hometown teams, including the Jaguars, Sharks, Axemen, Armada, and the Jumbo Shrimp. We have the most cutting-edge resources for sports medicine care, including active armor casting, Alter-G anti-gravity treadmills, and highly trained physicians and athletic trainers. JOI is truly where the pros go, and so should you.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason Stanley Pools is a family tradition of fine swimming pools. It's locally owned and run by the Stanley family since 1988. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build and renovate our pool, and they do a fantastic job of maintaining it. I've recommended Stanley Pools for years for pool construction, repairs, maintenance, and renovation. Call Stanley Pools at 269-7277 today to transform your backyard. That's Stanley Pools, 269-7277.
Did you know that many cooling companies are now part of big conglomerates with no connection to Northeast Florida? In the past, they have concentrated on heating and air conditioning, but after a buyout, many add plumbing and electrical services. This raises their overhead, and those costs are passed on to the consumer. It's a case where bigger isn't better, it's just more expensive. Not Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Mike Merritt remains family-owned and operated. Merritt's focus has been the same for more than 30 years, keeping Northeast Florida comfortable, no matter what the weather. And there are no overtime or weekend surcharges. Mike Merritt's team does not work on commission. They repair only what needs repair and offer replacements only on what can't be fixed. And unlike at giant corporations where you can feel like just another number, with Mike Merritt, you'll feel like number one. Florida license CACO 50384.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 9, 1936, Jesse Owens is part of the American 100-meter relay team that wins gold in world record fashion at the Berlin Olympics.
Your quick and easy solution for paying the lowest price on car insurance is Estrella Insurance. E to the T here, and start saving the big bucks and pay less today. Call 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE and see for yourself. That's 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE or visit EstrellaInsurance.com.
Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying. They can also signal a major problem or electrical emergency. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
888-8 Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey for Tire Outlet. Are you tired of overpaying for tires? Well, cruise into Tire Outlet for the best selection, best quality, and best prices on the tires you need to keep you and your family safe on the road. With over 40 years of experience and 15 locations across Florida, Tire Outlet is the brand you can trust to perform great service at a great price. Our expert technicians are ready to do the maintenance and repairs to keep your vehicle performing its best. Tire Outlet. Wholesale prices. Premium service.
Tire Outlet. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Hey folks, you know you want shark coatings, and the time is now. So close your eyes and let's imagine your garage. Wait, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Just wait till you get home. The rest of you see those cracks, the stains? It looks dark, dull, and dreary. It's nothing you're proud of. It's your house junk drawer. Now, see your floor with Shark Coatings. It's bright, it's durable, it's fresh. Since it's non-porous, it will be so much easier to clean. Don't imagine your garage, driveway, porch, or pool deck this way. Get with Shark Coatings and have a brand new space with new possibilities.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars running back Tank Bigsby has been turning heads at Jaguars training camp. Head coach Doug Peterson was asked this morning about the rookie third-round pick out of Auburn.
He's done a nice job, so far. There's still some learning to do and some growing to do as a rookie, but keeping him kind of where he is right now is a good thing, and expand maybe as you go. We're only 2 weeks in, of camp, and there's a lot of football ahead of us, so we're just gonna pump the brakes and make sure he's good with what he can handle.
Doug Peterson this morning, courtesy of Jaguars.com. The Jags kick off Week 1 of the preseason on Saturday at Dallas. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show, live here at Island Wing Company on Southside Boulevard. Frank Frangie, Hayes Carlin, I'm Lauren Brooks. RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters. Are we perfect yet as far as our video capabilities are concerned?
I think we're close. I think we're doing just fine. I think we're heading in the right direction. So
we'll never be perfect, but if we chase perfection, we can achieve excellence.
Perfect is the enemy of good.
That's right.
Is it?
I've heard that. Perfect is the enemy of good. I had no idea what that means.
I don't either. I've never heard that before.
Perfect is the enemy of good. Listen, I'm here to drop philosophy on you. I'm not afraid, Brooks. You've never heard that? Perfect is the enemy
Socrates.
of good. Yeah. That or Charlie Pell. I mean, one of them.
Right,
So perfect is the enemy of good. So if you try
I thought you were supposed to try and chase perfection.
You try too hard to be perfect, you can't be good. I just heard that somewhere. Someone's got to have seen that somewhere. I know I didn't make that up. Perfect is the enemy of good. That's what I drop with you.
It should be on a T-shirt.
There's no question it should be. So I'm just telling you, that's a thing. I'm a big Greg Sankey fan.
Yeah, I am too.
I like Greg. I think he should be the head of college football overall. I've always believed that.
I think he should be the NFL commissioner when Goodell is done.
That too.
I don't want to lose him for the SEC though.
That also. But Greg can't say this is sad. I back him almost all the time. I love Greg Sankey. I love the league. But they did kind of start this, Greg Sankey can't come out and say, guys, it's sad what's happened. I mean, everybody's and I love that the SEC did it. But let's be honest here. Everybody's responding to the moves the SEC made.
Yes, but technically you can say, if you're Sankey, it's sad that the Pac-12 is no longer a conference because you didn't infiltrate the Pac-12. But, yes, your domino effect created all that.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right. You can say whatever you want, but I mean, and I love that the SEC did it, but that's what really started. Yes, you can, and I know the counter to that is, well, the SEC went and got two teams in the footprint. Well, not really. They've incrementally extended the footprint in the last 30 years, so they've made the footprint look bigger. But again, I like Greg Sankey. I'm a Greg Sankey fan, but the SEC started all this. Make no mistake about this. Yes, the SEC went and got Texas A&M and Missouri. The Big Ten got Nebraska, which was funky, and Rutgers and Maryland, which made no sense. Okay, but then it all settled down. Then those were all 10, 15 years ago, right? It was all the settling had happened until the SEC went and got Texas and Oklahoma. That restarted everything. The Big Ten said, I'll show you. Those are two power. Forget the geography. Those are two. That blood couldn't be any bluer. That's as blue as it gets. So the Big Ten said, all right, we'll show your blue blood. We'll go get USC a blue blood and some other school that's near them. So we'll go get, which is a basketball blue blood. So we'll go. That's what started all this. Again, I don't fault them for it, but this thing all got kick-started when the Southeastern Conference went and got Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Greg Sankey can't say it's sad. I mean, but I do think he's done everything the right way. And, it's fair to meet with some skepticism when he says, look, Oklahoma and Texas pursued us. We didn't pursue them. Well, who knows? But again, it was always going to go this way. The money is just too big. And what I don't get is it was always going to happen. The sport is so popular that as long as the revenues kept going up and the TV deals kept going up, it was always going to dictate the future of the sport. And, I don't think it's sad. I won't miss the Pac-12. I don't care that the Pac-12 is dissolved. For all I care, the Big Ten and SEC can split the ACC and whatever of this Big 12 that they want, and let's just have two leagues, and let's make it step down from the NFL, and that's it. Those are you have two conferences, and it's basically set up like the NFL. If you want to do divisions, great, and that's it. And those programs can do whatever they want. If they want to pay players, pay players. That's to me where it should be. I don't consider it sad that it's no longer an amateur endeavor. It can still be an amateur endeavor in some levels. It still is. There's lower divisions of college football. If you're into the purity of that, the student athlete, watch that football. But if you want elite football, then you'll watch this new wave of college football.
I guess the question now becomes, if the ACC gets Stanford and Cal, what happens moving forward? Are we done?
Well,
and Oregon State and Washington State are left out, and we're just done?
I think that I don't know that we're ever done anymore, but I think done for now.
Done until 2036, I should say.
Yeah. For starters, let me go back to Hayes' point. If we were going to do what you just said, I could live with it. But if we were going to do that, in my mind, it wouldn't be the SEC and the Big Ten. If we were going to do that, it would be some configuration of the SEC and the Big Ten that eliminates Vanderbilt and Northwestern and Purdue, and they'd all be out. I would bring in Oregon State and Washington. I'd get rid of probably Colorado. I would probably at that point I would probably go get 40 schools, and FSU and Clemson would be in, and Vanderbilt and Northwestern would be out. You know what I mean? Then you got a pro league. Because what you're talking about, the pro league, and I can live with the pro league.
Right, but the SEC and Big Ten are going to drive that.
Yeah,
because there is no commissioner, as we've talked about.
That's right.
And there's not going to be any governing body that steps into that void of power. So whatever the next wave is going to be completely dictated by the SEC and Big Ten. It's just a matter of them working together, and the Big Ten is still seemingly very irritated at what the SEC has done. The SEC doesn't seem to be as bothered by the Big Ten, but the Big Ten seems to be, completely reacting to everything that the SEC has done. And, I think certainly they've made their league better. They added USC. That's great. They've made their league more, complex and logistically more of a challenge. But certainly adding USC is a fantastic move. But I just think that the only way they're going to get to that next step is for the SEC and Big Ten to say, we're the only ones that can do this. Let's get along. We're not going to cut any of our members, but let's get along, let's merge, and we're going to bring in the schools that we need to bring in, and we're going to do our own thing.
Back to Lauren's point, is it over if this happens? I don't think it's over because I think FSU is still antsy about trying to get out. I think what the ACC is doing is saying, listen, the reason you want out is money. We believe pro rata we can go get some money from the presence of the San Francisco market. So we'll go get Cal and Stanford. ESPN has told us that'll give us more money. And of the money we get, Cal and Stanford will get some of it. And the rest of it, instead of going to everybody else, will go to FSU and Clemson. I'll bet they do that. I'll bet there now is that uneven, and they'll have to have some metric that, They'll have to come up with a metric that has a way of you have to have television ratings of the last X years because they already know that FSU's and Clemson's are way higher. Any game that involves them is way higher. So I think they may wind up doing that. But I still say, so I think what you might see, Lauren, to your question, is Cal and Stanford in the ACC, not Washington State and Oregon State. I think now what happens to them, who knows? Mountain West or whatever. And I know if you're one of those schools, you don't feel whatever. But I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. To me, it's whatever. Right? So, but I think Cal and Stanford wind up in the ACC, which takes them to 16 schools, right? Then that would be a 16-team league, which makes no sense geographically. I think ESPN agrees to add money to the pot, and some of the money that goes to the pot, some of it goes to Cal and Stanford, which rescues them, and the other money that goes to the pot winds up going to FSU and Clemson. That's what I think is going to happen. More money, some to Cal and Stanford, who will take whatever they can get. By the way, now they're not fighting anybody for money. They'll just like Oregon and Washington just took a limited share to go to the Big Ten. Cal and Stanford would take a limited share then to wind up going to the ACC. So I think that would happen, and so I envision that happening, and FSU and Clemson wind up getting more of the money. So I think that's going to happen. Okay, that's what I think. But I'll go back to what I said before. If I'm Florida State University, I would and maybe Stanford too, but if I'm Florida State, I really would consider becoming an independent, spending a year or two to get there where I can get scheduled, partner somehow with Notre Dame, agree to play Notre Dame every year, agree to be the Southeast version of Notre Dame, to try and get games, and then become a very much sought-after free agent, which in time I think they would. Now, I don't know if that's legally possible because of grant of rights and buyouts, and I get that. I haven't forgotten about all that. But I think if I'm FSU, rather than being in the ACC till 2036, even though big whoop, we've now added Cal and Stanford, which is what I think is going to happen, I say I'd still rather be let me go join Notre Dame in the ranks of the independents, see how many teams I can get scheduled, see how many games I got to figure out what the payout are for the games, And I'm telling you, if I'm FSU, I'd rather be an independent than be in the Atlantic Coast Conference with or without Cal or Stanford.
Yeah, I mean, I get all that. I just think, again, looking at the logistics of a move like that, I don't think you'd be able to do a schedule that would be remotely credible in terms of a playoff berth. I don't know why Notre Dame would do that deal. They've already got their schedule lined up. I mean, maybe they do it like a home and home once. I think it'd be tough because all the Southern schools of note are playing conference schedules. And so, I think it'd be hard for FSU to put something together from a football standpoint, particularly when we see how far out these games are scheduled. So
like 10 plus years for some of them.
I got one for you. What if they agreed to it? And you're right. That is the logistical part. They may not be able to get 8 teams that happen to have an opening every year. I hear you, and I don't debate that. But what if they evolved? What if they had a deal like Notre Dame? What if they said, okay, ACC, we're going to pull out, but we will, like Notre Dame, agree to play 5-year teams every year?
The ACC, I think they'd be bitter, and they would say absolutely not. I think none of the ACC teams would help Florida State out by playing.
Yeah.
I don't think
if it made money,
FSU
I don't know.
is
that
even
may be the compromise.
Remotely on the national level of Notre Dame.
Well, of course. Well, no.
Yeah.
Well, only because nobody is.
Right. I mean, that's not a slight to Notre Dame.
Right.
I mean, Florida
FSU,
State.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that. The power of Notre Dame football. That's an international brand.
But I will tell you before. Again, you've only, like you said the other day, you've only followed the FSU and the ACC. Me growing up, FSU and Miami were independents, and at that point, they were the equivalent of Notre Dame. I can promise you, FSU, Miami, and Notre Dame, and Penn State were the 4 big independents. I'm telling you, they were. And it was. Now I know the world's changed; it was 30 years ago, but they were the big independents, and it mattered. I just don't. If I'm Florida State University, I don't know that continuing in the ACC is a very good option for me, and it doesn't look like the SEC wants them. I think that's been pretty clear that Greg Sankey isn't interested.
Yeah, absolutely. I think FSU has to stay where they are. I think the moment that we heard that the ACC is considering Stanford, Cal, and potentially SMU now, that means that they realize they can't go anywhere. These schools, the Magnificent Seven, as much as they wanted to, they can't go anywhere.
Right.
There's no other reason the ACC would be looking to add schools, and schools would be interested in signing a grant of rights if FSU and Clemson can get out of it.
Yeah, well, and that's right. So we'll see. We'll see. To me, I will say this. It's absolutely fascinating because I do think Cal and Stanford are headed there. One other thing. I don't know how we get there, but the answer probably is go back to everything else in every other sport. Go back to the Pac-12 being what it was in basketball, baseball, blah, 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 certainly the Olympic sports, and having these things only happen in football. It may be too late.
I think it
genie's
is
out of the bottle.
Yeah, like Kliavkoff, the Pac-12 commissioner, probably is out of a job at this point.
But this is bigger than one guy's job. This is can you go back and do it? So I don't know. It'll see. But I say I'll say what I said before. Florida. If I'm a Florida State fan, if I'm a fan of the school, now again, the logistics, the money. I don't want to act like I know something I don't. But if I'm a Florida State fan, I believe being an testing the independent waters is better for me than the world I'm in right now. That's my opinion. And maybe not. They are getting $32 million a year.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
you'd have to get more than that for it to work.
That's the thing.
And I know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money to try and come up with as an independent.
Yeah, and look, that's about what Notre Dame's going to be getting, and they're Notre Dame, so maybe not. So we'll see. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, I got a question about Nick Saban and Bill Belichick. That's next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
Brunell is back in the pocket. Blitz is coming now. He's going to run. He's coming to the near side. Pump fake across the 10, and he'll go into the end zone. Touchdown, Mark Brunell.
Home of the Jaguars. 1010XL.
Did you know the new 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid has an onboard system that charges the battery so you never have to plug it in? When you think Honda, you think quality, value, safety. Now think hybrid. Visit your local Honda dealer and experience the car of tomorrow today.
Introducing an exciting update from Duck Duck Rooter. Mia here and my friends at Duck Duck are thrilled to expand on their already long line of home and business services with the launch of Duck Duck Air Conditioning. As a licensed mechanical contractor, the skilled Duck Duck Air Conditioning team is equipped to handle any HVAC and refrigeration project you can throw at them. Folks, it is hot outside. There is no reason to be hot inside. Contact Duck Duck Air Conditioning today at 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars. Now you can enjoy Brackish Vodka and Jimmy Hula's in St. Augustine, 709 South Ponce de Leon Boulevard.
Garrett Scantling here, sports fans. I'm still feeling great from the treatment and care I received from Dr. Acevedo and Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. George Acevedo. Thanks to Garrett Scantling for those nice words. And if you have foot and ankle issues, visit Southeast Orthopedic Specialists today.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. After attending the Panini VIP party in Chicago, specialty packs are given away. At Showtime, we have those unique packs of the silver and gold variety. It's a fun checklist ranging from NFL stars to NASCAR drivers. Hurry while supplies last at Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Hey, poker players! The Card Player Poker Tour is back at Best Bet Jacksonville from August 10th to the 21st. The tournament schedule's packed with excitement and features 9 different poker tournaments, including the $1,700 no-limit Hold'em Mystery Bounty Main Event with a $300,000 guaranteed prize pool. Head to BestBetJax.com for the full schedule and information. That's BestBetJax.com.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS right here in Jacksonville is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
'Tis the season to be cool. Florida Home AC wants to make sure you're not cooked like a Christmas goose this summer. Make sure your AC unit is ready for the heat, and if it's time to look at replacement, look for quality and value. You'll get that from Florida Home AC. And right now, take advantage of $1,750 off a brand new heating and AC unit. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for all the details and trust a company that will always keep you cool. Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. Former Gators head coach Dan Mullen was a guest of the Saturday Down South podcast with Connor O'Gara. He had a lot to say about his time at the University of Florida.
The administration of Florida is the administration of Florida, you know, and the tricky part, and you look at it and see now they finally have maybe caught up. When Billy Napier came in, they finally put together a budget that competes with other teams in the SEC. They finally finished and moved into a facility where kids can actually visit campus and, you know, it's not, hey, our meetings in the basement of a locker room and hey, what do we do post-practice for, you know, how do you do recovery for your team? There's like a trash bucket with ice in the parking lot.
Dan Mullen on the Saturday Down South podcast. It's right now 95 degrees at 4 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
In the summertime, I can feel it in the air we breathe. In the summertime, nothing matters, we just keep
So now we know after hearing Dan Mullen, it wasn't his fault. It was Florida's fault.
That's right.
Yeah. Florida wasn't caught up.
And it was Marco Wilson's fault because Dan believes that had he not thrown the shoe, Dan'd still be the coach.
No, so there's no, but there was, the recovery was a bucket of ice in the parking lot. You know, now, far be it from me, Dan, to point out you're the head football coach, making $7 million a year. You're the most influential guy on the campus. Why not go change it? Right? I mean, the great coaches go affect change, or they don't take the damn job, or they leave for somewhere else.
Well, and he was getting ready to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, when the football-only building first was being constructed, when they broke ground, Dan Mullen was the coach, and he was in good standing. It wasn't like Billy Napier arrived and said, hey, I think we should build an indoor. Billy Napier had only been on the job for like 7 months when it opened.
Right.
I mean, it was well underway to being constructed. So again, it's sour grapes. Dan Mullen is the reason Dan Mullen isn't the coach. He didn't recruit at a high level. It was always going to catch up to him eventually. It finally did. And I got to be honest, imagine how bad Florida would have been if last year, which wasn't a good year, you didn't have Pearsall, Montrell Johnson, Torrance, guys like that. I'm telling you, the freshman class that Billy Napier brought in this year is going to make some real positive waves. They would have never had that class with Dan Mullen. They would have never had that speed at receiver. And all the 8 defensive linemen that all had legit big-time SEC offers, never would have happened. And so I shudder to think at how awful that roster would have looked if Dan Mullen had been the coach last year and this year. It would have been atrocious. It would have been worse than what it was before Napier got there, which was a disaster. Worse than a disaster, had he been able to still build that roster for the 2 years that Napier, thankfully, has been able to build it to.
Yeah, it would have been fun if Scott Strickland got to sit in on that podcast and kind of go back and forth with Dan Mullen. Like, so what exactly did you need that you asked me for that I didn't give you? Let's go through that list. And facilities, yeah, that was being built. What else did you need? Recruiting resources? Were there recruiting resources that you asked me for that I didn't give you? I have a feeling that Dan Mullen would not have had an answer for that.
And it was coming. To Hayes' point, it was on its way. Is your point about that? So anyway, it's just, I'm glad now I know it wasn't Dan's fault. Is Nick Saban the greatest team sport coach ever?
In college football.
How about other sports?
I'm going to say no. It's hard for me to give that to a college coach because of the advantages in recruiting and things like that.
Yeah, good point.
It's not set up for parity. So I'd have to probably give that honor to a professional coach.
That's a good point. That's a good take. I'll go the other way a little bit, but that's a fair point. College football's set up to, if you get the right school, you can dominate out of the gate. There's no Vanderbilts or Rices in these pro leagues. That's a good point.
But it wouldn't be Bill Belichick for that exact reason, because Bill Belichick had the greatest quarterback of all time in order to win all of his championships.
I think, given the climate, Nick Saban has some built-in advantages at Alabama that Missouri doesn't have. But Texas and Oklahoma and USC and Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State and Florida and LSU, they have them. They have the same advantages. And in an era where there's more parity, at least based on college sports parity, than there's ever been, he has 7 national championships. One coach with 7.
And has played for, lost to Clemson.
Right.
So how many more? Has he ever lost in the title game again? It seems like he has. But
Georgia
beat him.
Georgia, yeah.
Yeah, so he's won 7 and gotten to the title game at least 9 times that we can think of.
And he's a healthy 71-year-old. I don't know that he's done.
No.
He's got 7 national championships. John Wooden has more, but then there was no parity then.
Right.
There was no there's no parity. I'm trying to think of Coach Bear Bryant. There was none of them faced the opportunities for the opponents to be good the way Saban has. There's a lot.
Bear Bryant could sign 150 freshmen.
Correct. And so Nick Saban may be the greatest team sport coach. Your point's a good one about pro guys, but certainly in the college realm, let's say that, of all time.
Yeah, like someone might argue Mike Tomlin for those reasons. But the biggest concern that I have about this conversation as far as being a Florida fan and grad, Kirby Smart could get to 7.
Well,
absolutely.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
I don't think there's any chance Kirby Smart gets to 7. It is possible, but that's no knock on Kirby Smart. I just think no one's ever going to do it again. Even though Nick did it, I don't think it's ever going to happen again. I think someone will resist. Now, I might be wrong.
He's just so young,
in 10
and
years,
he's already
right.
got 2.
And in 10 years, we may look up and I was wrong, because one guy's done it. But my opinion is it's not going to happen. But right now, and then we'll have that show will be, is Kirby Smart the best? But for today, I think Nick Saban. What got me thinking about it is he just bought the $17 million home. $17 million. It's not even his primary residence. He lives in Tuscaloosa.
Well, it will be.
Well, at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
When he retires in 12 years at 83.
Is this a sign that he's getting closer to that? Or is this
ran
just
through
a
my
good
mind.
real estate deal?
It has to be.
Did Tiger call him and say,
that
hey,
ran through my
Nick,
mind.
this spot's available?
Does this mean he's getting out of it? I thought about
I
that.
mean, Miss Terry at some point deserves to ride off into the sunset with Nick.
But, I mean, I thought he bought a $17 million home.
I think I think it is a sign that maybe it's not 10 more years.
Kind of has to be.
It might be 2 more.
Yeah.
But it might not be 10 more.
But what got me thinking is a college in this day and age of money and kids and NIL, a college football coach just bought a $17 million. That's really a lot of money.
It's a lot of Aflac commercials.
I mean that's a. What's that?
It's a lot of Aflac commercials. Because he gets endorsements.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's not just his salary.
He gets all kind of endorsements.
Right.
Yeah, but I thought, wow. But then I thought, he deserves it, which does take me to Belichick. Belichick was a failed coach in Cleveland. He failed. He got to New England and won with the greatest quarterback in the history of the sport. They haven't been good since that greatest quarterback left. Is his legacy – I mean, again, Chuck Noll's great, but he had Bradshaw the whole time. Tom Landry had Staubach most of the time. Lombardi had Starr. Maybe that's not fair to say Belichick isn't as great as we thought because all the great coaches had that great quarterback.
Because Reed's going to have the same thing. People are going to say Andy Reid had Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, you're right. At least he had a modicum of success before that, though. He had a success in Philadelphia. Belichick's had no success without Brady, right? None.
He's had no success without Brady, but I would argue that he didn't get the 6 rings totally because of Brady. The first 2 New England rings were the defense. And Brady was sort of along for the ride not to mess it up. And to his credit, he didn't. It was the final 4 where Brady was way more of a reason why they won them than he was in the first 2. So, again, I think you have to give some credit to Belichick in his defensive prowess. But having said that, yeah. I think it absolutely affects how you view him because I think they're going to stink this year.
I do too.
So, wait until he goes 6-11 on this schedule. And now if he somehow wins 9, then that'll be a great coaching job because I don't think they have near enough talent on offense to keep up with the gauntlet that they face. But yeah, certainly it's going. And the other thing that hurts him is Terry Bradshaw never went to the Giants and won a Super Bowl. Joe Montana didn't go to Kansas City and win a Super Bowl with the Chiefs.
Right.
Literally, Tom Brady leaves New England
and won a Super Bowl
and wins the Super Bowl the next year with Tampa Bay.
That's kind of my point. Listen, if you have 6 rings, you're always going to be one of the greatest of all time. Nothing's ever going to change that. I get that. But I really wonder, was it quarterback or was it coach? Well, that's pretty obvious now, isn't it? It's pretty obvious.
Well, certainly the last half of their championships, it was way more Brady than Belichick. Although, it's not like their defense was ever awful.
Right.
But early on, I think Brady was able to be made because of how great Belichick's defenses were. So they won at a really high level, and Tom played well and didn't mess it up, but it allowed him to become a multiple Super Bowl winning quarterback, which then enabled him to evolve to his credit and get better and then become the greatest player arguably that's ever lived, where he was unbelievable in the postseason. And, to the point of, how they came back from 28-3 down to Atlanta, that's absurd. Absurd that they were down 25 points in the second half in the Super Bowl and found a way to win that game.
Should Belichick have retired to protect his legacy?
No. What he should have done is probably what he wanted to do all along was bring in Jimmy G and win one without Brady. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to win one without Brady. His goal was to win one without Brady, but it looks obvious to me that he's not going to be able to do that. And so
Hayes just did the tomahawk chop, and it was very concerning to me.
Well, I saw my buddy Shane. He's a big Knoll.
I thought you were waving. Did you tomahawk chop?
Yes, he did. It's
Just
very
now you did?
concerning over here.
Is that on tape?
It's on video.
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
the video's taped. I know audio's taped.
I mean, see you, buddy. I'll give him a little chop.
You know, I've lost friends before.
Yeah,
Okay, this
yeah.
won't be a first time. You tomahawk chopped Shane.
Yeah.
You couldn't just
He's a
wave.
good guy.
You couldn't wave.
Well, I mean, I could wave, but his Knolls are coming into town to UNF. He's excited about the season.
Okay. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
He's got bragging rights.
Okay. Did you, when your friend Brent Lister, is a Chiefs fan?
Yeah, I'll
do
give
you yell
him-
out, "Go
I'll-
Chiefs"?
I'll give him a go Chiefs.
Okay, dude. Okay.
Yeah.
How about that? That's great. Do you know any
I mean, the
Georgia-
Florida game is still like 3 months away, so, you know, we can all be friends this time of year.
Yeah.
By the way, our friend Craig Dewhurst from
You've
State
changed
Farm.
so much. You
I've softened.
You've compromised your values so much.
Our friend Craig Dewhurst will be at
Yeah.
Florida State practice tomorrow.
Yeah, one of my favorite people in the world. But I'm not going to give him a tomahawk chop. And Craig Dewhurst would respect me less if I tomahawk chopped him. Okay, Craig's probably listening right now, as a matter of fact, and he would respect me less if I tomahawk chopped him. We'll take a break. I want to stay on coaching a little bit because I'm trying to think who else is in this realm with Nick. Mike Krzyzewski for sure. I mean for sure, because Duke was not beating everybody's butt before he got there. They were
Right.
not. He is Duke.
Yes.
And I don't know that Duke will be what they were ever again. So because he was what they were, Phil Jackson would have been in it if it didn't, you know. Phil Jackson got a lot of credit, even though they had Jordan. But I don't, in a weird sort of way, people say, well, he went and did it with the Lakers too. No, he didn't.
Yeah,
He went-
that was hard with
That almost
Kobe
made-
and Shaq.
that almost made it worse.
It made it worse. I give him no credit.
Yeah, I feel that way too. We'll talk
By the
more.
way, Spurrier and Bowden, I think it's sad that they weren't on this list because they didn't win quite
But-
enough to
right.
be on the list.
But they both damn sure belong on it.
Absolutely.
Bobby Bowden, Florida State never becomes what they became without him. They were good with Bill Peterson in the 60s because they were throwing the football and they had Fred Biletnikoff and Steve Tensey. But Florida State never becomes, to your point, never, ever, ever becomes that. Same with Spurrier. We'll talk more coaching after this. Stay with us.
Now, the Lamb Rant, brought to you by the best bet card rooms of Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine.
The USA women's soccer team is its own worst enemy. It became so good winning back-to-back World Cups, it inspired other countries around the world to beef up their women's soccer programs. You did as good as USA women's soccer by making soccer cool for girls, and in making women's soccer profitable for those who excel. The USA team has several millionaires among its ranks. USA having the earliest exit ever from the World Cup was more about the competition, not the demise of the USA team. It also was a bit of a transition year for the American women. Perhaps too many veterans stayed too long at the expense of a youth movement. Many of those veterans won't be around for the next World Cup, hopefully making the team younger and better. The USA didn't go down without a fight, losing 5-4 on penalty kicks to Sweden. Appropriately, one of the missed kicks during the 2 rounds of penalty kicks was by one of those veterans, Megan Rapinoe. I say appropriately because Rapinoe has often spoken of her disgust with America, which has given her so much.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. When deciding what lawyer to trust with your car accident or injury case, the most reliable way is reviews and results. You want to be treated well, and you want a great result. Woolsey Morecambe's reviews are through the roof, and I challenge any law firm to compare results. Clients continue switching to us from other firms because we continue delivering. Recently, a car accident client left a big firm, and Woolsey Morecambe got her 10 times what they said it was worth. If you want to be treated right and want great results, call Woolsey Morecambe, 638-4235.
This month, the Key Buick GMC receives special financing on GMC's rates as low as 0.9% for 36 months or 2.9% for 60 months and 4.9% for 72 months. Right now, save up to $10,000 on select new GMCs and no payments for 90 days. As always, a Key Buick GMC, whenever you buy a new vehicle, it always comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. We are professional grade. Key Buick GMC, corner of South Side and Gate.
This is Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. Does your knee pain keep getting worse? How about that pain in your shoulder, hip, or back? Don't let them tell you steroids and surgery are your only options. Take my advice and call QC Kinetics now. You can turn back the clock by calling QC Kinetics at 904-274-5522. Set up a free consultation at their Mandarin or Ponte Vedra offices. QC Kinetics takes your own body's healing agents and concentrates them in the area where you have pain. You can repair and restore damaged tissue naturally through regenerative medicine. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting medical breakthrough, and patients here are getting real, lasting relief and are saying no to surgery and drugs. If you have pain due to injury or arthritis, this is a remarkable option that you need to check out. Call QC Kinetics now to get a free consultation at their Mandarin or Ponte Vedra offices. Call 904-274-5522.
Hey Jacksonville, this is 17-time PGA Tour winner Jim Furyk inviting you to join me and the legends of the PGA Tour for the 3rd annual Constellation Furyk and Friends presented by Circle K, October 2 through 8 at Timaquana Country Club. Public parking is free, along with complimentary tournament access for our military, courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Go to Ticketmaster to get your tickets today, and if you're not traveling to London to watch the Jags this fall, join us Sunday morning in the Publix Tailgate Village to catch the game on the big screen. For more information, visit ConstellationFurykandFriends.com.
If your hair is thinning and you're looking for an easy solution that will restore your hair, check out IHRS PRP Platelet-Rich Plasma. PRP, using your own platelets and cells to restore your hair where it's thinning. Combined with their FDA-approved laser hair therapy and pharmaceutical-grade products, all three will deliver one better result. Call IHRS now for a free evaluation and to find out if their PRP 45-minute treatment will work for you. Now there is a solution for any man or woman with any degree of hair loss. And it's all in one place. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS has been restoring hair for over 30 years. The staff at IHRS knows what it's like to lose their hair. And that's why they're ready to help you grow your hair back.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
There's nothing like a good fish story.
You're never going to believe me, but it was this big.
On the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show with Captain Kevin Faber.
Thursday nights at 6.
Golly, that's a giant.
On 1010XL AM.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here. Hurricane season is upon us. That's why I always recommend Patriot Roofing Services, specializing in all types of commercial, residential roofing and repairs, gutters, sun tubes, skylights, 10-year workmanship warranty, financing is available, military and senior citizen discounts, no subcontractors. Give my buddy Mark a call, 982-4052, licensed and insured, or go to Patriot Roofing Services online.
At Ratify Credit Union, we know that empowered people do powerful things. Big things, crazy things, wonderful things. And that's why we're here, to find ways to say yes, to make banking easy, and to help you make waves. So whatever crazy idea is in the back of your mind, we've got the banking how-to to go with your why not. Banking, lending, savings, empowering. Find it at ratifycu.org. Ratify Credit Union. Make waves. Insured by NCUA.
Folks, it's finally here. The return of the Blue Crab Crab House. After a massive fire, they return and they're open Tuesday through Saturday, 4:30 to 10, Sunday noon to 9. As always, each and every Tuesday, $2 margaritas, $1 oysters on Wednesday. And as expected, the best crabs that you'll find throughout Jacksonville. Same ownership, same management. The Blue Crab Crab House off of San Jose on Jillington Creek Road.
When your vehicle needs an oil change, but you really haven't got the time, visit the newest Famous Quick Lube location in Jacks Beach near Penman. It's the same fast, affordable service at your convenience. That's Famous Quick Lube.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the program. We're live at Island Wing Company along with my friend Lauren Brooks and my former friend Hayes Carline, who joined us on the program today.
How many times have you guys become unfriends and then friends again?
Well, I've kind of unfriended you, him,
Oh, yeah.
Most people I
But
know.
we never became friends again, so
Yeah,
that's easier to keep track
well,
of.
yeah, it's a very good point. Kind of wish I'd said that. Very well done.
A couple times a week, I guess.
Yeah. And it's just, I told this. I told one of my favorite stories. I've told this all the time. I used to always say, Joe Cowart's got all the friends with the nicknames and the grills and the beers and the tents and the cookouts and all. And I said one time, I said, if I had Coward's friends, I'd trade all my friends for Coward's friends. I'd take them all. I'd just trade them all.
Yeah.
And I used to say it on the air. So for the longest time, I hadn't said it. And you kind of forget the dumb stuff you say on the air. And one of my friends one time, we're drinking, he goes, "Hey, what's Coward like?" And I said, "Joe Coward." He's a great guy. He's a good guy. He's a great guy. I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, if you're trading us all for him, I just want to know what I'm getting, for God's sake."
Yeah.
So it's a true story. So we had a good time with that.
Yeah, I wondered if your friends were not thrilled with that.
Yeah, I mean, and I totally had forgotten until my buddy goes, "What's Coward like?" I mean, if we're all going to him, we at least need to know what we're getting.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. All right, Coach K for sure. One of the greatest sport coaches of all time.
Yes.
Again, see, it's almost hard to count the Notre Dame guys because they all won. I don't want to say that about I would say that about Saban if he hadn't won so much.
Right.
But he'd won so much. Spurrier's on the category on the list because nobody really has done it at Florida. Urban went in there and did it for a cup of coffee, and he did. But Spurrier did it where nobody had ever done it before. I've said this many times about Spurrier because Lauren brought this up about Spurrier and Bowden. Florida had been in the Southeastern Conference 58 years and had never won the SEC title. 58. Now they won an unofficial one in '84. They got stripped because of probation, but they had never won one. He won essentially 5 in his first 6 years if you count 90, and officially 4 in his first 6 years. Think about that for a second. Digest that. And so he did something that had never been done before. Bowden, to your point, Lauren, think about this for a second. Bobby Bowden, they almost shut down the program in 73, 74 when Darryl Moody and Larry Jones were there. They had an 0-11 season. Oh, maybe 0-10. Maybe they weren't playing 11. Yeah, I think they were either 0-10 or 11. They weren't playing however many. Florida State University truly thought about not playing anymore. Did you realize that? They were going to shut down the program and just move on to other stuff, not play football anymore. And Bowden came and obviously resuscitated the program. So certainly both those guys belong in there.
By the way, as far as women's basketball, Pat Summitt, 8 titles.
Yeah, and by the way, women's, and I don't pretend to follow women's sports as close, but if you did, Gino Auriemma and Pat Summitt are high on the list. I just don't, and again, I'm not dismissing anything either one of them did. I just don't follow it as closely, and therefore I don't know it as well. So they certainly belong on the list. You're exactly right about that. John Wooden's on the list, but I don't know that he's first. It used to be he had no peers.
Right.
I don't know that that's the case anymore, at least in my mind.
Yeah, I would agree because of the resistance. Are you just going college guys?
Well, no, I'm just.
I think Don Shula has to be mentioned.
Right.
I mean, the longevity, and he won with a bunch of different
and in 2 places
teams. One with 2 places.
He didn't win the Super Bowl in Baltimore, but he took them to the Super Bowl, and he won Super Bowls, and he really won a Super Bowl. Bob Greasy was okay, but Bob Greasy wasn't Dan Marino, who he didn't win with, by the way. So I think there's a litany, Hayes, of really good NFL coaches. Vince Lombardi and Don Shula and George Halas and Bill Belichick and Chuck Noll and Tom Landry. I don't know how you separate those guys. Now, maybe, I guess if you asked people to rank them, it'd be Lombardi 1, right? And then everybody, I'm guessing Shula 1, maybe Shula. But there's been a litany of those guys. I mean,
Lombardi has the trophy named after him, so I'm going to go Lombardi 1.
Yeah, that's right. And Belichick has more than any of them, by the way. Belichick has more titles than any of those guys.
Right.
But that's the whole point of the topic is, did he have an unfair advantage? Did he have the greatest player of all time in an era when there were a lot of other good guys that played that sport? So
that's going to be the problem for Belichick, is going to be his record without Tom Brady. We know it was bad in Cleveland, and he's about a 500 coach without him in New England. And it looks like, again, this is a big year for them. I mean, if they finish 5 games under 500, that's tough. That's tough to defend in terms of saying that he's the best one to ever do it. particularly when you do have Deflategate, Spygate, and how much of that you want to attribute to Belichick.
John Wooden did win 10 of them, by the way. He did win 10 titles.
But like you've talked about that, I mean, the officials handed him games in the tournament.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to consider that as well.
Certainly the game against JU they handed them.
Well, that can't be the only time that ever happened.
Yeah, good point. Red Auerbach, who certainly has a reputation, he has nine NBA titles. Red's got 9 NBA titles. Wooden's got 10. How many's Coach K in an era of way more parity? What's Coach K got? 5?
5, I think.
He got 5 titles. I tell you what, given the resistance and the age and the era, Mike Krzyzewski's 5, in my mind, is at worst on par with Wooden and Auerbach, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Has to be, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he won. I mean, the amount of NCAA tournament games that he won, it's monumental because obviously he was doing it in the age of the massive bracket. So, yeah, I absolutely think you can make a case in terms of him being at the top of college basketball.
13 Final Four appearances to go along with the 5 championships.
13 Final Fours. Does anybody else have that? Wooden, I'll bet Wooden. Does Wooden have that?
I don't think
so. Because I got to believe every time he won, he won.
That's
he won.
the thing. Every time he got that deep, they won the whole thing.
He has the most. Krzyzewski does.
Yeah, I mean.
Wooden has 12. Dean Smith has 11. Roy Williams has 9. Tom Izzo has 8.
Dean Smith has 11 but only 2 titles. And he'll always, in this, he's one of the greatest of all time. But in this conversation, when we're trying to identify the greatest of all time, he'll always suffer from the titles they didn't win. You made the same point about Bowden, to your point earlier, Lauren. Anybody else we're missing in the college football realm? See, Miami, they all did it.
Yeah.
So that eliminates Jimmy and Howard and Erickson because they all did it.
Tom Osborne.
They won with Bob Devaney before him.
Yeah.
I think Bob Devaney probably. Tom Osborne's but he's in the conversation. Not Barry Switzer, Bud Wilkerson. But again, no resistance. He's kind of the John Wooden of football when he did it because there was Bud Wilkerson did it in Oklahoma. There wasn't as much resistance. So yeah, But again, the whole point of this topic, Nick Saban, 7 national championships. And by the way, I will tell you, I don't think Saban's done winning national titles. But Lauren made a great point. If you just bought a $17 million home in South Florida, does that mean you're about to wrap it up? Because when are you going to be there? I mean, realistically, if you're a college football coach, when are you in your vacation home? You got to recruit.
Yeah, maybe a month out of the year.
Right.
Can you bring recruits to the home?
but realistically, maybe a month. I mean, I really do wonder what that answer is. In today's 24/7, 12-month recruiting cycle,
right.
It can't be more than a month.
Right. I'm 71, and I'd rather go into a living room in, Foley, Alabama to recruit the latest 5-star defensive end than be in my $17.5 million Jupiter Island mansion.
Right. And when Tiger called and said, Tiger, no, I don't want to play 18 today because I got to go to Mobile and recruit this linebacker.
Right.
Yeah.
The tricky part is when we listened to him at SEC Media Days at the podium, he was talking about how they went to Europe, they went to Italy, and he didn't want to go. He tried to get out of it for the last couple years. So I do feel like there's a war there. I think he does really want to keep recruiting, but I feel like the rest of his family, especially his wife, is like, no, we've served our time, and now it's time for us to retire and relax.
It'll be interesting to see. Final thing, back to Belichick. What's going to happen with him?
He's going to be the coach of the Chargers next year.
Do you think he'll coach another team?
I absolutely do.
Why do you think that?
Because I think he's going to be very irritated by how it's going to end in New England, and he's very conscious of his legacy.
He's also 71, by the way.
He is 71. So I think he's going to step in. I think he's going to take a page out of Phil Jackson's book, and he's going to say, where can I go where I can win big right away? And the perception of the Chargers is that they've been a perennial underachiever, but he's got a franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert. They've got a talented roster around Justin Herbert. And so my guess is Brandon Staley, they'll underachieve again. He'll get fired. My guess is the Patriots will miss the tournament probably by a few games. And Kraft and Belichick will part ways, and Belichick will want to go prove that he can do it. And I think the Chargers would be the softest landing spot of jobs that look like they could come available.
That the Chargers are the one job in the NFL, whether it's fair or not. The Chargers are the one job in the NFL where it looks like they have a good team but the wrong coach. Most teams in the NFL, if they're not winning, the coach might be part of it, but people believe the roster's part of it too. The Chargers are the one team that it does seem like there's a belief, right or wrong, that because of the quarterback, because of some of the skill guys, because of the pass rushers, that there's enough there, the wrong guy's leading them. Right or wrong, that opinion exists.
Yeah, no question about it. And so I don't think Belichick is going to go 7-10, part ways with the Patriots, and say, that's it, I'm done. I think he's one of these guys that he will be as motivated at 72 as he was at 52.
Yeah, I think he retires. I think at 72, you've done all you can do. You've won a ton. I don't think he has more football to coach.
We'll take a break. If you were retired or if you weren't, and you could go see one game somewhere, where would you go? That's our topic after this.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
More videos, more podcasts, more Jaguars, preps, and college football. More of everything you love about Jacksonville sports at 1010XL.com.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. Johns County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course,
oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Dailies Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
Clearwater. John, I can't even mow my side yard. It's so soggy. Man, my builder sucks.
Brent, calm down. This is a common problem in neighborhoods where houses are built too close together. You need gutters and a properly installed French drain that will soak up subsurface water. We can completely dry it up.
So I can take my builder off my speed dial now, huh?
Yeah, we got you, buddy. Let that builder bitterness go.
Clearwater irrigation and drainage too.
Toilet or shower not draining? Water bill high? So many issues you want to cry? Call Mr. Rooter of Jacksonville. Have your number 2 business serviced by your number 1 plumber. Let us do your dirty work. Call us today.
Mr. Rooter. Have breakfast with Hall of Famer Tony Baselli. He may even bring his gold jacket.
I got a feeling he's going to be on his best behavior.
Monday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Epstein & Robbins DUI Defense Firm and Mr. Rooter Plumbing of Jacksonville. Breakfast provided by Chick-fil-A.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Hey folks, Nimnick for Life is here. Buy your next pre-owned vehicle with confidence and peace of mind at Nimnick. Nimnick Chevrolet now offers a lifetime engine and powertrain warranty on qualifying pre-owned vehicles, including 1 year free maintenance. And Nimnick for Life keeps you on the road and worry-free. Plus, for a limited time, you can enjoy rates as low as 3.9% on select certified pre-owned models.
And oh, by the way, you want a great truck? Well, you can unlock your summer drive with one of those Silverados from Nimnik. Nimnik Chevrolet is proud to be Northeast Florida's Silverado truck headquarters with the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee. So Nimnik for Life is here, and all those Silverados are there on location right now. So head to Nimnik. That's Nimnik, your friends in the car business since 1941. Chevy, find new roads.
I'm Dr. Mitchell Yass, the most unknown world-renowned expert on pain elimination. That's right, elimination. If you've tried medications, injections, physical therapy, chiropractic, even surgery, and still experience pain, then say yes to Yass. I have successfully used the Yass method for over 30 years to help thousands reclaim their lives. To learn more, call me at 904-906-YASS. Let's end your pain and say yes to Yass.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars running back Tank Bigsby has been turning heads at Jaguars training camp. Head coach Doug Peterson was asked this morning about the rookie third-round pick out of Auburn.
He's done a nice job, so far. There's still some learning to do and some growing to do as a rookie, but keeping him kind of where he is right now is a good thing, and expand maybe as you go. We're only 2 weeks in, of camp, and there's a lot of football ahead of us, so we're just going to pump the brakes and make sure he's good with what he can handle.
Doug Peterson this morning, courtesy of Jaguars.com. The Jags kick off week 1 of the preseason on Saturday at Dallas. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show, live here at Island Wing Company. So I woke up to the news that we are not going to become the newest multi-millionaires. Brian did buy a Mega Millions ticket yesterday.
Did he go to Publix?
He did not go to Publix. He bought it at a gas station on the way home.
Okay.
But that is the Publix that we frequent. So it could have been purchased there, but it was not. It's hard to imagine that someone, either last night or this morning, that potentially we know had that kind of windfall of cash in the last few hours.
$1.5 billion. If you take the lump sum, $750 million. Lump sum in your bank account. Someone said, if you had that, would you retire? Would I retire? I wouldn't even call and tell them.
Right, yeah.
You guys have been here about 10 till 3 going, I guess, is Frank coming? I mean, you kidding me? I don't even know if I'd talk to you guys anymore. I mean, are you kidding me?
We were talking about that at practice today, and Matt Hayes was like, I'd be on my way to Tallahassee or whatever, and I was like, I'd still be here so you all wouldn't realize that I won it, so you couldn't ask me for money. I'd be stealthy as far as winning that money.
Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me right now?
You'd be watching Pirates baseball probably.
Yeah, I think
you'd be owning Pirates baseball.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think you can buy them.
I'd buy a $12 million home on the beach just to not live in it. Then I'd buy one next to it to live in it.
You buy one next to save them.
Yeah. That's right. Exactly what I would do.
Speaking of practice this morning, Hayes, anything jump out to you? Or was it fairly boring because it wasn't padded?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're taking it easy. We're on the downslope of camp. I mean, they were doing the one-on-ones, and the linemen had their hands behind their back. That's where we were today. No helmets.
It's time.
No helmets. Hands behind their back. Just working kind of on the footwork. And then finally, at the very end of that, they kind of did some contact, but it was very minimal.
Right.
So, nothing really urgent. I mean, I think that now it's just, get off the grass healthy, and they did that. And knock on wood, they've been doing that pretty consistently throughout training camp. So, nothing glaring. Tim Jones had a bad drop. Chris Claybrooks had a great pick. Other than that, I thought it was
ready for the next thing.
Ready for the next thing.
Lauren, if you could go anywhere to watch a sporting event, who would you watch play and where would they play?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. There's something magical to me about the World Series.
Okay.
So I'm not a big enough Rays fan to say it would have to be the Rays. I would just want to go to a Game 7 of the World Series.
Is there any venue you'd pick to see it?
Yeah,
Stadium
I'd probably pick Wrigley.
Yeah,
I think that sounds like fun.
A World Series game at Wrigley is a good choice.
I
hear you.
I've never been to Wrigley. I've been around Fenway. I've never been in there. There are probably lots of baseball parks. PNC Park, that would be a great venue.
But a World Series game at Wrigley.
But it'd be
Wrigleyville
Game 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then and again, I'm not a diehard fan of that team, so I can't say oh my gosh, I would have to be a Rays game, and certainly I wouldn't want it to be in Tropicana Field.
But a World Series game at Wrigley, okay? So a World Series, okay. How about you?
I still want to get to Lambeau at some point,
It's on my list.
And so for me it would be that. I've been lucky enough to go to almost all the NFL stadiums. But Lambeau I missed because it was in 2012, which was the year before I got on the Jaguar beat. And then 2020 came around, back into the rotation, COVID hits. So for me, it would be Lambeau Field. It wouldn't have to be anything. I just would like to see it before I'm done covering the NFL.
RJ, one game, one place that you haven't been. Where would you go?
If it were me, I would love to see an NBA Finals game. And I would love to see it in the Garden, actually. I would love to go to Madison Square Garden.
Oh, I like that.
And, watch an NBA Finals game. I mean, I've been to the Staples Center plenty of times, so, I mean, of course, that's a great venue. But, if I would love to go to Madison Square Garden.
All right. I like that. Those are all good. I got, like all of us, I got 4 or 5 I could mention. I want to see, and I want them to be good again, I want to see college football at Nebraska. Because it's the one place that I care about that I've never been. I hear there's nothing like it. I hear the weekend, and you think of all the places, that's it. But that's it. I want to see. Now, I want them good. I want good Nebraska. I wish they were playing Oklahoma, who they don't play anymore. But that's the one place I got thinking about it. That's when I am retired, like if I'd have won the $750 million in my bank account.
You didn't buy a ticket, did you?
I did not. And Suzanne, my wife's a big believer that it's easier to win when you buy the ticket.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but that's funny because I don't have any proof of that because all the people I know that bought tickets have never won. But for me, I would want to see a college football game in Nebraska for the whole weekend. I hear it's crazy, sell out every game, the tailgating. I love that stuff. Lambeau's on my list. A home game at Lambeau in cold weather has got to be on the list.
And you've been to Omaha for the World Series?
I have not, and that's on the list.
Okay, so that would certainly be
Omaha's
on the list.
on the list. But if I had one, I don't know that it would be a college World Series game.
Yeah,
that's on the
hear
list,
you.
though. But that I mean.
And for people wondering why we didn't pick Jaguars Super Bowl somewhere,
Right.
because I think we all expect we would already.
Yeah.
You, of course, Frank would be there. Hayes, you most likely would be there.
And I certainly hope that happens. But this isn't as much about team as it is venue.
Yeah.
We all picked venue. I mean, RJ didn't pick a Lakers home game. He said he wants to see one in the Garden. You picked a World Series game. Somebody playing in Wrigley. You picked a game at Lambeau. So none of us picked our team. It isn't about team. It's about venue and event. I'll tell you one thing that's on. I don't know why it is on. I want to see a Padres game. I've not been to Petco. I've looked into Petco from a hotel room when we were playing when the Jags were out there. Paul McCartney was playing. I saw him warming up. I saw his the day before. But I've never seen a baseball game at Petco. That would be high on my list. So, because I think there's so many great venues out there. Now Omaha would be on my list because I'm so baseball. But I don't know that I'd put College World Series first. I will say this: If you haven't been to Wrigley.
No.
RJ, you've never been to see baseball. You're not a baseball guy. You've never been to Wrigley, right?
No, but I've been to Dodger Stadium, and I love it.
Dodger Stadium's fantastic, by the way. Dodger Stadium, by the way, is fantastic. Ain't Wrigley. I've been Wrigley, Fenway, and Dodger to 3. Wrigley, you, by the way, Lauren, would love Wrigleyville. The vibe ask Taylor. The vibe in Wrigleyville is as good and as charming as baseball could possibly be. Charming as professional sports could possibly be. I've never been to New Yankee. I've been to Old Yankee. I've been to Fenway many times. But Wrigley has got a charm to it that if we all were getting together, we were all going to take a trip together, and we all had to put all of our here's mine, here's mine, here's mine, here's mine. I'd say, you know what? Let's all go to Wrigley. Because
and you have the Friday 1:30?
That's the best game in sports. To me, a Friday afternoon, first pitch at 1:30 at Wrigley. Because then you got Wrigleyville that night. You've got in Wrigleyville that night. I mean, no, in Chicago, I've said this before. Chicago's the greatest city in America from May through September. It's the greatest. It really is. You've been to Chicago plenty, I would think. Chicago's the greatest city in America. Have you been to Chicago, Lauren?
I have.
May through September is the greatest city in America. May through middle of October. Problem is, then it gets stupid cold. Yeah, I would think that. As for Jaguar road games, I've been everywhere but Lambeau. I've not seen a game at Lambeau. But as far as the ones I love going to, don't get mad at me, Jaguar fan, but because it sometimes hasn't gone so well. I love Foxborough. You like Foxborough?
The stadium is cool, yeah.
The stadium, the Patriot Place, all the stuff around it. It's in a neighborhood. Foxborough, the stadium's in a neighborhood.
The traffic is unbearable.
Yeah, it's awful traffic, and I've been fortunate enough that I haven't had to deal with that.
Yeah.
I've been on a bus with an escort, but I hear you, if you're driving to it, I'll bet it's terrible. But it's in a neighborhood. And by the way, Kansas City and Buffalo, their stadiums are in neighborhoods too, but it's more of a high school feel. New England's got a combination. It's got sort of that combo feel to it.
Hayes, what Gators away game would you want to go to first?
Probably LSU.
That's what I figured. Baton Rouge.
Nothing like it. I would tell you, if you haven't been to a lot of college stadiums, and you were making a list, I would tell you your list should be Baton Rouge should be on it. Happy Valley should be on it. Cousin Carly's told you about that, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
That should be on it.
Knoxville
absolutely should be. Knoxville, honest to God, might be first. Knoxville actually might be better than LSU or Penn State. I just haven't been able to make myself say that until now. I'll tell you where else is great. Columbus. Right there along the Olentangy River, because it's right on the river, is pretty magical. College football venues are like nothing else. They're like no other sport. They're not like NFL. They're not like college basketball. College football venues, and that's why I think there's all this the sadness, if you want to call it that, because big part of that are the rivalries are real. College football rivalry and college basketball rivalries are real too. There's just only a handful of teams that have them that matter. You know what I mean? There's not a like there's no SEC basketball rivalries. There's like zero. Everybody can say Kentucky's their rival, but they're really not. So there's you agree with that? There's no SEC basketball rivalries. There's some ACC rivalries, but college football rivalries are one of the greatest things ever.
Florida Tennessee is not at all a college basketball rivalry.
Not really. I mean they both feel like, because the schools are rivals in all athletics, but nah, at least to me it's not. Florida Kentucky felt like more of a rivalry to Florida than Tennessee.
Yeah, well, yeah,
in basketball,
and that's the thing. It really would be, ask the Kentucky contingent who they view as their rival. But for a while they might have said Florida, but I mean, no one's on par with Kentucky.
Right.
I mean, they've won more SEC championships than the rest of the league combined.
I think Kentucky. If you ask Kentucky basketball their rivals, they'd have 4 or 5 teams before they ever got to the conference. Louisville, Indiana, Kansas.
They hate Duke, North Carolina.
I think
they don't play them all that often.
I think Kentucky. You ask a Kentucky fan, their biggest rivals in basketball, they might get 5 or 6 deep before they ever mention an SEC school.
I would agree.
I mean, think about that. That's the thesis statement. That tells you, that underscores how not meaningless but rivalryless SEC basketball's been. I mean, the real basketball. Kentucky's got a bunch of them. Duke and Carolina is the greatest rivalry in college basketball. UCLA, I don't know if UCLA's got rivals because they've had no real peers on the West Coast.
Arizona?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Only 'cause I almost sense UCLA Arizona as a rivalry only because they were good. Yeah. Just like during Billy Donovan's years, Florida and Kentucky seemed like a rivalry, not because it was really a rivalry, but because Kentucky's always good, and during Billy's years, Florida was good. If you think about that, I think that's part of it. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, my friend Mark Lamping's going to join us. He is the president of the Jaguars. His around town, the town halls called huddles, were a fantastic success. What did Mark learn from it? Where do we stand on the Four Seasons, obviously? Where do we stand on the stadium deal? All that coming up in a bit. We'll talk Jaguars football stadium with Mark Lamping after this.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
I just want you to meet some people and find out whatever you can about them. What type of people? Dangerous, dirty, tattooed, uncivilized. Your kind of people.
1010XL.
You've probably heard the saying, it's not how hard you get hit, it's whether or not you get back up. Well, I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and I have a saying of my own. If you get hit with a personal injury or wrongful death, hit back and fight to make them pay. At Hastings Injury Law, we have the experience you want if you or a loved one suffer a car or trucking accident or wrongful death. Just call 904-HIT-BACK and we'll help you get up and hit back. Office is Jacksonville.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Who's your hero? Before you answer Superman, I don't mean those heroes. I'm talking our local heroes. Do you know one? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet want to recognize your hero in a big way. This year, we will recognize local heroes in our community and honor them with a brand new car. That's right, we'll be giving away a brand new car, cash, and free oil changes for life to our local heroes. Visit localwowheroes.com to nominate and vote today. Let's wow our heroes.
School is out and the kids are at home. This means more stress on your septic system. Call Duck Duck Rooter and get your septic tank pumped out. 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
What's causing your hair to fall out? Can your hair grow back? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Call right now for your free analysis, 904-777-IHRS, or visit hairforme.com. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They are the only clinic to offer the trademarked multi-unit hair grafting PRP platelet-rich plasma and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
Find your why and your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Are you an electrician looking for better pay and benefits? Miller Electric Company has the industry-leading compensation package. Electricians are eligible for a signing bonus up to $1,000. Now, they're partnering with the Jaguars on their new performance facility, the Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric has opportunities for you to work on some of the most exciting projects right here in Jacksonville. Whether you're experienced or not, visit MillerCareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. That's MillerCareers.com.
Hey folks, you know you want shark coatings, and the time is now. So close your eyes and let's imagine your garage. Wait, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Just wait till you get home. The rest of you see those cracks, the stains? It looks dark, dull, and dreary. It's nothing you're proud of. It's your house junk drawer. Now, see your floor with Shark Coatings. It's bright, it's durable, it's fresh. Since it's non-porous, it will be so much easier to clean. Don't imagine your garage, driveway, porch, or pool deck this way. Get with Shark Coatings and have a brand new space with new possibilities.
Your Jaguars are back at Everbank Stadium, and we can't wait to see you there. Deciding on your favorite matchup has never been easier with a bundle at the bank. Purchase tickets to 3 or more games, starting at just $58 per game. As a bundle purchaser, you receive exclusive access to Jaguars and Daly's Place pre-sales, discounts on single game tickets, and so much more. But seats are selling fast, so lock them in now. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
Sports injuries are a common issue for both adults and children. Dr. George Barry here, and as a specialist in orthopedic care, the team at Barry Orthopedics and Sports Medicine here in Jacksonville provides comprehensive diagnosis and treatment of all types of sports injuries. With additional training in sports medicine and more than 30 years of experience, the team is available to care for your entire family and help you have fun and stay active. Visit us today at BarryOrthopedics.com.
And don't forget to check out Breaking Bones Sunday morning, 7:30 on 1010XL.
Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, get 10% off all kitchen cabinet orders of $1,000 or more. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members earn double the bonus points on select stock cabinets through August 4th. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Must ask cashier to apply discount barcode at time of purchase. Discount on cabinet purchase only. Coupon cannot be used with any other discount. Valid 7/27 through 8/9. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This update brought to you by YMCA of Florida's First Coast. Former Gators head coach Dan Mullen was a guest of the Saturday Down South podcast with Connor O'Gara. He had a lot to say about his time at the University of Florida.
The administration of Florida is the administration of Florida. They finally have maybe caught up. When Billy Napier came in, they finally put together a budget that competes with other teams in the SEC. They finally finished and moved into a facility where kids can actually visit campus and, you know, it's not, hey, our meetings in the basement of a locker room and you know, how do you do recovery for your team? There's like a trash bucket with ice in the parking lot.
Dan Mullen on the Saturday Down South podcast. It's a scorching 96 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the program. Glad you're with us. We're live at Island Wing Company on the south side. Good crowd in here, right here. Southside Boulevard. Frank Frangie along with Hayes Carline and Lauren Brooks. Our friend Mark Lamping, as the president of the Jags, did a terrific job on the community huddle run there. That is over now. Mark joins us now. Mark, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you, Frank?
We are doing well. Hey, so that's behind you now. You did a great job on the town hall meetings. I mean that very sincerely. But I know it was a lot of work and a lot of stuff. Mark, what'd you learn? How do you feel about how they went? You had to learn something from kind of seeing that many people en masse.
Well, it was a great process, and we learned a lot. That was the goal was to get out throughout the community. You know, we did that. We were literally in every council district. We had meetings that were held at lunchtime, that were held early evening, on weekends. We actually had a couple meetings on a holiday, and the goal was to share more information on the plan, get people's feedback, answer any questions they might have. And, you know, we had over 2,000 people in total show up at these events. And, you know, the feedback was tremendous. It served exactly what we hoped it would do. And, you know, as we came out of it, there was a handful of common themes that we went through. We know that, you know, parking is really at the top of the list of most Jaguar fans. And, you know, there's a lot of work to make sure that we get done to come up with a parking plan that works for everyone. There were some really interesting comments as it relates to the pedestrian traffic around the stadium before the game and after the game. You know, as you're coming from east of the stadium around tailgaters or the Talleyrand area, when you have to cut across Gator Bowl Boulevard, it really slows down traffic. So there were suggestions about adding pedestrian bridges, and we've added that to the plan. There were a lot of questions about, do you do the project over 2 years? Do you do it over 4 years? Our response to that is we need to just keep on working to come up with a plan that we can get it done as fast as we possibly can. There was also some misconceptions, Frank, as we went through it. If you recall the rendering of the stadium, that the shroud that's outside the stadium is a reflective material. There is apparently people think that that's a glass material and that it's going to be breaking all the time and that it's going to be hard to maintain. It's actually just the opposite of that. It's what they call an ETFE material. It's been around, used in buildings and building roofs for over 20 years. It's a very lightweight and flexible fabric. It's non-stick, so it's actually self-cleaning. It's very lightweight. It's very efficient to use. So anyone who thinks that the outside of the stadium is made of glass, it's not. It's a really flexible, lightweight, very durable material. And we think we're in a good spot. This plan needs to continue to evolve. We've had ongoing conversations with Mayor Deegan and her staff. We know that they're really busy right now, but they have committed to talking to us, as soon as they possibly can. They're in the process of trying to retain some consultants, which we think is a good idea, and hopefully we'll be able to kick off this process before the end of this month.
Mark, you said when you joined us about a month ago, I think October is a interesting kind of date for you guys in terms of keeping the firm and the plan sort of on schedule. Is it progressing in a way that you like there? And refresh me if I'm wrong on the timeline of that.
Yeah, the importance of October, it's not a deadline for the negotiations. It's we've laid out a plan and we've prepared pricing that's based on a specific schedule. And to the degree you alter that schedule, you're going to have to probably increase the price of the project. So, for us to stay on schedule, we need to continue to advance the design, which means we need to start investing. And I say we, the Jaguars need to start spending about $1 million a month this October to keep the project on schedule, where it would begin in earnest after the 2025 season and be ready by the 2028 season. So we're going to have to check the temperature real quick as we get close to that date. If we feel like we're on a path to a successful conclusion, as we do now, if we had to make that decision today, the answer would be yes. But that's really sort of the first checkpoint. And then the second piece is we really, in order to protect the date, assuming that we continue to spend the money to advance the design, we have to have an agreement by the end of the second quarter next year in order to protect that schedule. And then if we miss that, it doesn't mean that the project's dead. All it means is that it's going to open later and it's going to cost more.
And we certainly don't want that. Mark, it was great seeing you today. I feel like anyone who is against the stadium renovation should come through the Miller Electric Center, tour that fantastic facility, and realize just how great and state-of-the-art the stadium could be.
Well, you get sort of all of you have a behind-the-scenes opportunity to do a real-life before and after. You know what our facilities were like in the stadium. So that's how those facilities were for almost the past 30 years. And then you see how time has passed us by, and you move into the Miller Electric Center, and you see how most teams operate. There couldn't be a more drastic difference between the two.
Well, and to that end, Mark, I've even had the good pleasure of seeing the other ones. We practiced with, as you know, we practiced with the Vikings and the Patriots and the Ravens and on and on. So yeah, I think you guys did a marvelous job there, and I mean that, and Lauren's point is a good one. Back to the stadium for a second here. Your conversation. You said you've had conversations with the mayor's office, and you're right. She had to have a budget ready. A lot has to happen very quickly. There's 11 new council members. But is that the kind of thing where it can be in the fall, and you've begun to spend $1 million a month, and all of a sudden you have a pretty good – I don't expect it all to be done in the fall, but you have a pretty good idea that this is going to land where we want it to land. Could that happen as early as the fall or have enough momentum there, do you think?
Well, sure it could, but we're not counting on that because we don't, let's plan for the worst and hope for the best. But it's not like we're not doing anything. I've been spending time briefing each individual council member. We're not through all 19 yet, but by the end of this week, would have met with 15 of them. The next step through the mayor's office is to have that kickoff negotiation session, which will probably be to sort of outline the goals and the needs of both parties. And we're anxious for that to happen, but because our anxiousness comes from our excitement on what we know can do so many great things for downtown and for the entire community, for our fans and for the team.
Mark, at what stage of this do the other owners start to kind of give you some feedback on what they would like to see, or just out of curiosity, kind of where things are? Because obviously, that's a big component of this is that, you're going to need, the 24 votes of the other owners to get the new stadium approved.
Yeah. Well, we already are briefing the NFL. Schott is in constant contact with his partners. There's not a lot to share with them right now other than our plans, because we really don't know where the city is as it relates to, what really is their plan to replace their stadium. We will be a willing investor along with them, but it's the city stadium. They own it. They're responsible for the maintenance. They're responsible for the capital improvements. And if it needs to be replaced, ultimately it's going to be their responsibility. And we will be a willing partner to invest along with the city to, solve that replacement of the city-owned facility. The questions from the other owners, based on my experience, and I've been around long enough to see many of these stadium proposals come forward, they're going to want to know, okay, how does this proposal in Jacksonville compare to what other similar-sized cities are doing to solve their stadium problems for their NFL franchise?
Mark, you mentioned the pedestrian bridges. Was there any other feedback that kind of surprised you as you went through the process of the huddles?
Well, it was really some of it was the absence of feedback, to be quite honest with you. We got very little feedback on the design. So normally that's you expect, because beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but we got very little feedback as it relates to the proposed design of the stadium. The only comments we really got about the design related to, let's make sure that park, and there is going to be a city park outside the stadium, let's make sure that's as accessible as possible to people that are downtown. Let's make sure it's comfortable. So maybe take another look at your landscaping plan. Get rid of some of the palm trees and replace them with oak trees that'll probably provide a little bit more shade, and just make sure that the reflection off the side of the building isn't such that it's going to be blinding someone who might be living in a condominium on the south side.
I think one of the reasons you didn't get feedback is because you had a lot of the questions answered when you presented. I think part of that was the survey you did. Look, you figured out before you ever went out there, right, Mark, that people didn't want to get wet. They didn't want sun. They wanted to be able to park. I think one of the reasons when we all saw it, I think we all said, you know what, that kind of addresses a lot of the stuff. Don't you feel kind of like that? Wasn't that one of the reasons for maybe not a lot of feedback on the design?
Well, I think you're right. It was a very deliberate process, as you know, Frank. I mean, what we unveiled was 3 years in the making. It wasn't something that we started with, okay, here's the plan. We started with what does the plan need to include? And, we did fan surveys, as you know. We talked to all the stakeholders, including the universities of Florida and Georgia. We talked to concert promoters that don't bring concerts to Jacksonville and other major events, national governing bodies like U.S. Soccer. What can we do to the stadium that you would bring national team here, more frequently. And so we were able to go to the architects before they started designing with a comprehensive design brief, basically saying your design needs to address these 24 or 25 issues. So we were fortunate that we were focused from the beginning, and I'll give all the credit to Shad on that one, because this was a expensive process,
right.
And it was the Jaguars paying for this. It's not really, it's not our stadium, but look, we have such a vested interest to make sure that the city gets to the right solution for the city and for the Jaguars, that we felt that we're probably in the best position to take the first stab at what the stadium solution should be, because we all have experience in it.
Mark Lamping with us, president of the Jaguars. We're talking about the stadium as we move forward. Is there any movement in your mind about the? I hope we land on the 2 years. I hope people figure out now we're better off not spending more and waiting 4 years for the thing to get built. I don't know what people think, but I hope that's where they are now. Assuming that is where they are. Any more closure in your mind on how you want to do that? Gainesville, Orlando, Daytona, somewhere here, or is that still down the road?
Yeah, it's down the road now. The good news, and I've said this before, we would love to have to deal with that problem, because that means we've got a stadium solution. But so while it might be premature to make that decision before we actually have a deal, we're doing as much due diligence as we can to make sure that when we get to that point, we've thought it through. We've looked at all the possibilities, all the pros and the cons, what the economic realities are of the different strategies, and hopefully make the one that works best, not only for our fans, but also for downtown and the rest of the community.
Mark, is in terms of the stadium renovation, is the University of Florida graduate campus, is that still a component to the plan?
We'd love it to be part of the plan, but we don't. We're not the decision maker on that. The decision maker on that ultimately will be the University of Florida. So, we are in communication with them on a regular basis. What we've told them is that if you choose the fairground site for your graduate campus, Shad Khan will donate that property to you. The other thing we've told them is that, we're not going to be in a position to do anything until we resolve the stadium. And, we've told them that what that potential timetable is, which we talked about earlier in this conversation. And at least at this point, it seems like, they're willing to at least wait a while before they ultimately make that decision. At the end of the day, the most important thing is to get that campus in downtown Jackson. And, if it ends up going to the fairgrounds, I think that's great for that area. I think it's going to be great for the Audi neighborhood. I think it'll be great in terms of creating some more development momentum from the sports complex towards downtown, where there's not really a lot going on. And but we have to focus on the stadium deal, and at the same time keep in communication with the University of Florida and let them know we want to work with you and we're prepared to give you the property. I say we, it's Shad. Shad's prepared to give you the property. And if you can wait until we get our stadium deal done, we'd appreciate the consideration.
Mark, how exciting is it for you and for fans when they drive in and out of the stadium now on Bay Street, they see the signs of the Four Seasons and they see progress and machinery?
Well, that's exciting. I mean, it's the only. Well, there were a lot of people in Jacksonville that weren't surprised that it was a Four Seasons. The people that were least surprised was those of us that work at the Jaguars, because we've known for 2 years it's going to be a Four Seasons. But for those people that said Four Seasons will never, ever, ever come to Jacksonville, I guess maybe they have to reconsider their predictions. So I think it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a game changer for downtown. It is a gift in many respects to Jacksonville, from Shad. Shad's making this happen. He's not doing it for economic reasons. Four Seasons is only coming to Jacksonville because of Shad's relationship with the Four Seasons corporate through ownership of the Four Seasons Hotel in Toronto. So, and, you know, we're confident that it's going to be a catalytic a project, that it's going to spur a lot of other things. And to that extent, it will really be serving the purpose that it was intended to serve.
That was really well said, by the way. Matt, it's going to be a Four Seasons. Imagine that. How about that? So, well said. Mark Lamping, the president of the Jaguars. Mark, thanks for spending some time. I think we're all excited about the process, and Lauren made a good point earlier. The best case of it is the Performance Center we're seeing every day.
Yeah. Hey, Frank, the only thing I would add is that we want to provide as much information as we can to people that are interested, and we post everything at the First Downtown Jacksonville site. We published a report that summarized all the findings from the community huddle process. So that was a report that we prepared for the mayor and the 19 city council members. We also posted that to the First Downtown Jacksonville site. So if anybody really wants to get a tutorial on how the Jaguars are approaching this and what the update is, go to that site, go to the documents section, read the frequently asked questions, which we included in our summary, and there's also a memorandum of understanding that was part of the process. If you read the memorandum of understanding and if you read the frequently asked comments, you will know exactly how the Jaguars are approaching this project.
As well as it's a very transparent process. You're right about it. And the site he's talking about, the number one, firstdowntownjacksonville.com, and it's very comprehensive. It certainly is that. Mark, thanks for spending some time, brother. We appreciate it, man. We'll see you down there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, guys, and thanks for everything you do for us. Take care.
All right, you got it, Mark. Mark Lamping, the president of the Jaguars, and it's been a very transparent process. Listen, I say this all the time. Well, Frank, you're biased. Well, of course I'm biased. I work with the Jags, and I love the city, and I love sports, and I love football, and I want to see us thrive forever. Yes, I'm biased. But beyond that, these guys are really trying to do it right. Yes, I'm biased, but I don't care. They're trying to do it right. They're honest. They're transparent. They're doing it in line with the way the NFL does it. They're doing it in line with the way that should fit this city. They're trying to do more than just have a football stadium. They're developing a community. And Mark said it right. Go to First. It's the number one, firstdowntownjacksonville.com. And that's the story. The whole story's there. It's really there. So I appreciate Mark coming on and clarifying some things that were unclear as well. We'll take a break. More in a moment. This is 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Florida sunshine and Jack Sports Radio.
Summer.
Bringing the heat.
Hot summer.
Jacksonville's summer station. 1010XL.
I think it's gonna be hot summer.
It's not just a sale, it's the national sales event, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here in Arlington has over 400 new Toyotas available. Camrys, Corollas, Tundras. I think you should take a test drive today. Plus, with every new Toyota purchase at Arlington, you get their lifetime warranty and 30-day exchange program. That's 30 days to love your new purchase or exchange it. The national sales event is here, folks, and you don't want to miss it. Shop today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS right here in Jacksonville is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE neograft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Matt Hayes here. Is it time to buy a new cooling system? Well, Fenwick Home Services makes it easy. Their comfort consultants come to your home and examine your home's unique needs. They recommend the best cooling system for you, your family, and your home. Plus, the installation can happen as soon as tomorrow. Fenwick also offers flexible financing options and industry-leading up to 12-year warranties. Book your next install at FenwickEasyBook.com. That's FenwickEasyBook.com.
Pads will pop, and the practice field will rock. Get daily training camp coverage brought to you by Kingfish Pest Control and Roland Leash Plumbing. That's it on 1010XL.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Sports fans, this is David Garrard here. And if you're suffering from orthopedic soreness, make an appointment at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where everyone is treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
The game of golf has never been more popular, and Hidden Hills Golf Club welcomes everyone. You'll love our friendly staff and fantastic golf course. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com or give us a call at 620-0910.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
New and pre-owned firearms are always in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimbar, Smith & Wesson, Sig Sauer, and Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Answer this question for a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Coke Zero Sugar 400, August 26th at Daytona. Who was on the pole position for last year's Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name only to 641-1010 for a chance to win.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hey, we're live at Island Wing Company here on the South Side on a Wednesday. Frangie and Carline, Lauren Brooks, R.J. Saunders. We continue along. News and notes just around the corner. Oh, one got away to your beloved Braves last night, Carline.
That's right.
Brought in David Bednar, tried to close it out, blew the save. Pirates are 8-6 in the last 14, and the last two were blown saves. We'd be 10-4 in the last 14. Just to let you know that.
But I thought Bednar was really good.
He was, but he's tired. They showed how many pitches
Okay.
they're using him too much.
I thought he got like a month off.
Yeah, he had some time off. But that's the problem. They're winning games.
Yeah.
In News Bulletin, they're not really winning them 17-3. And so I said last night, I told my wife, not that she cares at all, But I said they shouldn't bring in Bednar here. They should leave the guy. They should leave the guy that was in Andre Jackson. They should leave him in. And she goes, well, he's the good one. I said, he is the good one.
That's impressive knowledge.
He is the good one, but he's out of gas. I'm telling you, he should. They showed how many pitches he's thrown every day, and the announcers, Greg Brown's almost saying this is risky because of how much he's pitched. And you're playing the Braves, who are like a slow pitch softball team. The Braves is amazing how they score. It really is. I said. She goes, what do you think's going to happen? I said he's going to blow the save, and he gave up 3 runs. So there's that.
So both of you will race home from Island Wing
Yes.
to be ready for first pitch
Well,
at 7:05.
That's our teams.
Of course.
I mean, how do you not race home to watch your teams?
I mean, it was a living hell going into the 9th inning last night.
Were you watching?
No.
No. Did you know they were playing?
I did know they were playing because you guys had taken game
Prosser,
one.
because Prosser came in yesterday and you got to tease him.
Yeah, all I wanted was just one more win. I just wanted a split. Last night, my split would have been secure last night. So I got 2 more cracks at it tonight and then a day game tomorrow, which will be on right in the middle of our 2 to 4 show, just in case you want to know that. So I do want to thank our friend Mark Lamping for coming on. He's done a great job with that, and it has been a very transparent process, as I said before. And I'm excited about it. I'm like you, by the way, something you said a minute ago or said to Mark. It is cool seeing that 4 seasons project is unfolding. We knew it was going to be, and Mark's point was right. There were those in the political media, I don't know if that's who he's referring to, so that's who I'm referring to, that had their doubts. Was it really a 4 seasons? Is the 4 seasons really coming to Jacksonville, 4 seasons? And to their credit, Shad and others have said, Shad owns the Toronto 4 seasons. Yeah. He probably has a little pull with the freaking company. That's the point. And sometimes you just got to trust the guy, instead of in this cynical dang world we're in sometimes. Sometimes trust the guy,
These weren't hard lines to draw to connect.
I mean, so trust the guy,
Shad said years ago that he was going to build the 4 seasons. I guess I never really understood why anyone wouldn't believe that.
Because we live in a cynical world, and sometimes I think people live to not believe.
To prove people wrong, I get it.
Yeah, and I hope, Mark didn't say this, I'll say it, I hope all the folks that said it'll never be a 4 seasons have said I was wrong. I hope the people that said this will never be a 4 seasons, I hope now have said, by the way, I was wrong, right? I mean, again, if I said it's not a 4 seasons, and it is a 4 seasons, the evidence would suggest that I was incorrect, wouldn't it?
It would, but my guess is they'll hold on to it until
something
the first day it opens.
Right.
Then at that point,
Just
maybe.
in case. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Hayes, very random question, but why was Doug Peterson asked about urinals this morning?
Okay, so Scott Hansen, who does the NFL Red Zone, visited the Miller Electric Performance Center the other day. So he was doing kind of a video, and he said, check this out. And so he films a urinal, and it's got this sensor in it.
Okay.
So when you pee into it, it'll tell you how hydrated you are.
It checks your hydration
Yes. And so
that is so cool.
Yeah. And
is
so
that in the restroom that you use, or restrooms
no.
only the players use?
No,
okay.
no. They don't care about my hydration. But
that's tremendous.
Yeah.
You got to care about Hayes' hydration.
Yeah. What I like to do to throw them off is I pour gravy on the sensor. But
I don't care about Hayes' hydration.
Yes, but anyway, so our good buddy Mark Long, who even prefaced it with, this may even trump me asking you if your kid is a spy.
That was fantastic.
That was tremendous.
But what he basically wanted to know what the Jaguars do with that information, and Doug was like, no, it doesn't go to like an iPad somewhere. It just basically is right there. The player gets the information right there on the spot. It doesn't go into like any sort of computer bank or anything.
But I think that's really smart.
There's no data, with the urinal information.
But it does tell the player. I mean, during training camp, they can lose a good amount of water weight when they're out there. So it tells the player if they're fully hydrated or if they probably need to figure out a different hydration plan.
Exactly right. I've told the story many times. I knew people in college when everybody was on steroids. When everybody back in the day, when they would have the walk-ons. I've told you this. They would have the walk-ons would have a water bottle, okay, and they would provide the sample in the water bottle, and the water bottle would be underneath a big T-shirt for the good player who was on the steroids, and taped underneath, the good player would walk into the restroom. That would be his urine sample, which was clean, and that's how they would do it. I mean, I can tell you that really happened.
Yeah.
It really happened.
Which were you? Were you the one
Well,
on steroids or providing the sample?
I wasn't on the team, but there's no question the way I leave the yard, they would want to test me, okay? That much is for sure. Let's take a break. Lauren's going to wrap the program in news and notes right after this.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The PGA Tour will be heading to Memphis, Tennessee Thursday to begin the FedEx St. Jude Championship. It's played at the TPC Southwind. Will Zalatoris won the tournament last year. However, he has been out with an injury for the 2023 season. Scotty Scheffler is the betting favorite to win the tournament. He's at plus 600, while Rory McIlroy and John Rahm are both plus 850. Patrick Cantlay plus 1,600 to win in Memphis. Xander Schauffele plus 1,800, and Victor Hovland is at plus 2,000. The tournament will run through Sunday. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
When it's hot and you know it, clap your hands. When it's hot and you know it, clap your hands. When it's hot and you know it, and your sweat stains really show it. When it's hot and you know it, call the Duck.
AC broken at your home or business? Stop clapping your hands, pick up the phone, and call Duck Duck Air Conditioning, the mechanical contractor pros when it comes to getting your AC unit working again. 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, a division of Duck Duck Rooter.
This is Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. Does your knee pain keep getting worse? How about that pain in your shoulder, hip, or back? Don't let them tell you steroids and surgery are your only options. Take my advice and call QC Kinetics now. You can turn back the clock by calling QC Kinetics at 904-274-5522. Set up a free consultation at their Mandarin or Ponte Vedra offices. QC Kinetics takes your own body's healing agents and concentrates them in the area where you have pain. You can repair and restore damaged tissue naturally through regenerative medicine. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting medical breakthrough, and patients here are getting real, lasting relief and are saying no to surgery and drugs. If you have pain due to injury or arthritis, this is a remarkable option that you need to check out. Call QC Kinetics now to get a free consultation at their Mandarin or Ponte Vedra offices. Call 904-274-5522.
Nimnick for Life is here. Buy your next pre-owned vehicle with confidence and peace of mind at Nimnick. Nimnick Chevrolet now offers a lifetime engine and powertrain warranty on qualifying pre-owned vehicles, including 1 year free maintenance. Frank Frangie here. Nimnick for Life keeps you on the road and worry-free. Plus, for a limited time, enjoy rates as low as 3.9% on select certified pre-owned models. Visit NimnickChevy.com to see the complete inventory or stop by the dealership at Park and Cassett. Chevy. Find new roads.
Hey Jacksonville, this is 17-time PGA Tour winner Jim Furyk inviting you to join me and the legends of the PGA Tour for the 3rd annual Constellation Furyk and Friends presented by Circle K, October 2 through 8 at Timaquana Country Club. Public parking is free, along with complimentary tournament access for our military, courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Go to Ticketmaster to get your tickets today, and if you're not traveling to London, but watch the Jags this fall, join us Sunday morning in the Publix Tailgate Village. Catch the game on the big screen. For more information, visit ConstellationFurykandFriends.com.
What? They did not tell me they were going to do that. I need a new bank.
Well, actually, One-to-One Financial doesn't do the usual bank surprises because we're not a bank. We're a credit union, and that means lower loan interest, things like free checking and member rewards, and of course, total investment back into our community.
I'm sold.
Find a better way to bank than big banks with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit 121fcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA. Everything you need to know about your Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars Today with Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
Every weekday from 10 to noon on 1010XL.
Baloo here for Shinatri Chiropractic, the breakdown of the body. Stop fighting it. Visit Shinatri Chiropractic, the official chiropractor of JU Athletics. Back and neck pain, arms, legs giving you problems. Get an effective diagnosis and treatment with an adjustment or dry needling. How about acupuncture, which I love because it works? Get rid of your pain and tension. Call 743-6700 or visit them at 2711 University Boulevard, Shinatri Chiropractic.
Jason Isbell and the 400 unit. August 12th, the St. Augustine Amphitheater. With special guest, the Baseball Project. Jason Isbell and the 400 units. Buy tickets at the box office or Ticketmaster.com. Weather Vanes, out now.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. And let me get this right, Greg. Cycles is selling boats?
We are carrying the Coach Pontoon boats, which comes with a legendary Honda engines, and these things are first class.
So Honda outboard engines, if you have one, this is where you can go and get it repaired. And then you also have these pontoon boats.
In stock, ready to have some fun on the water, and they are big fun.
So it's not just Cycles of Jacksonville. They are an authorized boat dealer. Come check out the coolest new concept in pontoons. Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency.
Training camp is here, and 1010XL is there. From the practice field straight to you, nobody covers camp like 1010XL. Brought to you by Roland Leash Plumbing and Kingfish Pest Control.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra. Maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars running back Tank Bigsby has been turning heads at Jaguars training camp. Head coach Doug Peterson was asked this morning about the rookie third-round pick out of Auburn.
He's done a nice job, so far. There's still some learning to do and some growing to do as a rookie, but keeping him kind of where he is right now is a good thing, and expand maybe as you go. We're only 2 weeks in, of camp, and there's a lot of football ahead of us, so we're just going to pump the brakes and make sure he's good with what he can handle.
Doug Peterson this morning, courtesy of Jaguars.com. The Jags kick off Week 1 of the preseason on Saturday at Dallas. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
What's going on in the world? It's time for Frangie Show news and notes. Here's Lauren Brooks.
I want you to come get lost with me. Ask you one more time.
All right, Hayes, you said you weren't watching baseball. Were you watching the first episode of Hard Knocks?
I was not. It didn't come on until 10, and I was tired, so I didn't stay up. But it seems like it's getting good reviews.
I read it's the Aaron Rodgers show.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to watch it. I make no promises, but because I'd still like to watch quarterback. I just haven't yet. But I'm glad that at least I just saw a tweet that came out at viewership up 13% from last year. I like the idea of Hard Knocks. I like the idea of taking us, behind the scenes when it comes to what happens in training camp for NFL teams. I just wish it wasn't so homogenized and friendly, and seeing the really interesting parts of it be taken away, which is what it's become. So I'll give it a chance, but I did not watch last night.
I didn't either, and I can tell you all the conversations we've had about Hard Knocks well before it launched this year still hold true for me. There's so much behind-the-scenes stuff now everywhere on television, again, including the teams that do such a good job, like the Hunts comes back tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be all season long instead of just off season.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
And I think they do a better job than somebody. At least I'm more interested in that than guys I don't know much about. So I just think there's so many people mic'd up, so much stuff behind the scenes now that that I think Hard Knocks isn't the big deal it once was, because when it came out, there was nothing like it. And I think that's why, I guess the ratings are up because of Aaron Rodgers.
And the New York market.
Yeah, I have no interest.
Did either of you watch Johnny Football? I did get to watch that one.
No, but I'm going to watch that one. Is it a one-time thing?
It is. It's an hour and 12 minutes. I
heard it's pretty good.
I will not say anything else because I want you to watch it and have none of my opinions changing your mind once you watch it.
Yeah,
before you watch it.
I will watch it.
But I will say it's definitely worth watching.
There's been a lot on Twitter today about it, and so I've seen that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited to see it, and some of the stories are pretty stunning.
I will say, since you have kids, don't watch it with kids anywhere near because there is foul language right off the rip and throughout it. No surprise, it's Johnny Football, but
the thesis statement apparently is that life got away from him, and he's owned up, and he's telling stories of things he did or didn't do that wow everybody. That's right.
Yeah, you'll learn some stuff in there.
Yeah.
Like I said, it is interesting.
Not a very studious man.
No,
definitely not that. But I don't think any of us really would have pegged him to be that type of guy either. In sad news, Henry Ruggs pled guilty back in May to the felony charge of DUI resulting in death and a misdemeanor count of vehicular manslaughter. Today, he was sentenced 3 to 10 years in prison. I don't understand enough about the legal system. That seems like a wide range to me.
Yeah, and I don't either. And nor did I follow the case other than when it happened. But it's a sad story. Somebody lost their life. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. It's a tragic story, and it's maybe probably like good behavior factors into that.
That's the only thing I
think,
can expect. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean he's lucky it wasn't more.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, super sad. He killed a woman and her dog back then. Did you see the story that Miles Jack said he considered becoming a plumber or an electrician after the Steelers cut him before the Eagles signed him?
Miles Jack wasn't clogged.
Yeah. Well done. We you know what? We almost got through the whole show without that. That would have been a disappointment.
That would have been a travesty.
I would. Yeah, I did see that. Miles is an interesting guy. He's a good guy, but he's an interesting guy. So that story didn't shock me as much just because it's Miles.
Is he not doing the candles anymore?
That's what I was surprised about. I was like, I thought you would have leaned into the candles.
Maybe something a little bit more like that. But I mean, that's great. We electricians, plumbers,
absolutely,
whatever it takes.
He also said life comes at you fast in the NFL. One day you're playing, and then the next day, you're sitting on the couch playing video games. And then you get to play for the Super Bowl champions. That's what he said. Then you're all of a sudden playing for the Super Bowl champions. Did he miss the fact that the Eagles lost to the Chiefs?
Is he looking into the future? Maybe maybe he's seen the script for the season.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe they sent him the script. You really should sign with us.
I was part of one of those scripts.
Yeah, there you go.
That was fantastic. The Commanders have some issues already. Apparently, players have gone to head coach Ron Rivera and said that Eric Bieniemy is too hard on them. He's too intense.
Well, that surprises me a little bit, but he is intense. All the videos you saw from Kansas City, he's an intense guy. I will say this. I think Eric Bieniemy to the Commanders calling plays is one of the intriguing stories in the NFL because forever he didn't get jobs, and at the end of the day, those that defended the not hiring of him said it's because Andy Reid was calling the plays. And for that reason, they don't really know if he's a guy that can truly run the offense. Now, whether that's true or not, we don't know. But how he does there on a team that some people like Pete Prisco think actually have a pretty good team will be interesting.
It really will be. They have a great defense. Can the offense do its part? I don't think so, but they're, I don't know about interesting, but they're somewhat compelling to see what they become, particularly with the ownership change. It would be a great story if they found their way to 11 wins now that Daniel Snyder's not there, just to further make it as miserable a year for him as it could possibly be. If somehow they got into the playoffs, I don't think there's any chance they could win the division unless the Eagles lose half their roster, and then you'd still have Dallas. But it would be a fun story if they somehow make it into the tournament. I don't see it.
Yeah, it feels like the Commanders are very far away from winning. By the way, you mentioned quarterback. I don't know if y'all talked about this on Tuesday when I was gone, but Trevor Lawrence was asked if he would appear on this upcoming season of quarterback, He said, no, not right for him right now, maybe in the future. I think that disappointed a lot of Jaguars fans, but they certainly understand winning comes first.
Yeah, and he's not that guy. You know, Trevor, the small-town guy, by his own admission, he fits Jacksonville better than he would have New York, and he fits not doing something like that more than he would fit doing it. That doesn't mean he won't do it at some point, but I'm not surprised by that. I think that, and I wouldn't have been disappointed if he had done it, but that doesn't surprise me knowing who Trevor Lawrence is.
I agree because it feels like he wants to take another big step before probably entertaining any of that. And so, you know, I could see in 2 or 3 years Trevor deciding to do it. But I think it's going to be, let me make sure I've entrenched myself among the elite before I take on anything extra.
Right, because the show, I know you haven't watched it yet, but the show goes through the whole season. It's not just the highs, you know, it certainly showcases the lows as well. We talked about this last night on Helmets and Heels. No NFL quarterback has ever lost to 31 different teams, but that could change this year with Derek Carr if the Saints lose to the Panthers, and obviously they'll play them twice.
So no quarterbacks ever lost to all of them.
That's right.
And he's lost to 30.
That's right. 9 quarterbacks have lost to 30 different teams, but every other quarterback on the list is retired or out of football one way or the other.
How about that?
That's
so,
very
and then
interesting.
he, in theory, next season, because most likely the Saints won't play the Raiders in the playoffs this year, next season the Saints play the Raiders. So if he loses the Panthers this year, he's lost to 31 teams. And if the Saints lose to the Raiders next year, he's lost to all 32 teams.
That's something. That's something he'll have.
It's
he'll have over everybody else.
Particularly since he's got, I think, a pretty good record as a starter, doesn't he? I think he's at least over 500. But that is amazing that he's close to losing to a record amount of teams.
He's 63-79 in his career.
63-79? Oh, okay. So he's not as good as what I thought he was.
We talked about this at the time, but Jay Monahan, PGA Tour commissioner, did come out today and say that anxiety was the cause of him taking a medical leave for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, these are tense times. I mean, these are tense times at the tour. They're tense times with what happens with LIV. The PGA Tour has been in the news as much as it's ever been, and the world of golf has been in the news in not such a good way. I get that. I get if you're Jay Monahan, these would have to be extremely stressful times. Totally get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a good thing when people of prominence come out and say that anxiety was a factor in something, because I think it allows for the average person to then be more willing and open and vulnerable when it comes to anxiety, because nobody ever wants to talk about that.
Right.
It's almost a taboo, or it has been for so long a taboo word. But now that we have more open conversations about mental health, anxiety, I think it's a good thing. All right, when it comes to the starting Power 5 quarterbacks, I've got a ranking of 1 through 69 by Clint Brewster of 24/7 Sports.
Graham Mertz is 1.
My question to you, gentlemen.
Caleb Williams is 2. I can tell you that right now.
You are correct, actually. Caleb Williams is 2 on this list, which I know is a big surprise for a lot of people.
I saw this list earlier. Drake May's one.
That is correct.
Okay, that's a joke. This is also the list that doesn't have Jordan Travis in the top 10.
Jordan Travis
that's a dumb
is
list.
13th on the list.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
my
how about
question,
downtown
of
Max
course,
Brown? Is he on the list?
He is not. Where do you think, in all seriousness, where do you think Graham Mertz falls on 1 through 69?
In the 40s. I think that's where people will have him. I'll say in the 40s.
You are correct, and Hayes, you already saw. He's 47th out of 69.
Those are the whether
I actually didn't even make it that far down the list. I saw Jordan Travis at 13 and said, all right, I'm out.
I would have too. But that's where Jordan Travis down in the top 10 is dumb. He's going to New York. He's going to be in the Heisman conversation, so that's dumb. As for Graham Mertz, the America thinks he's in the 40s. And maybe he is. Maybe he's lower. Maybe he's higher. But it's pretty clear America thinks he's in the 40s. So it's up to him. If he's better than that, it's up to him and them to prove it.
Yeah, and what is surprising, or at least to me, who is surprising to be in the top 10, would be a guy that has really yet to play. He played some last season, but Quinn Ewers for Texas.
Way too high.
4th?
Way too high.
Like, we don't know
He's 4th
for
and
sure.
Jordan Travis is 13th?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, is this guy, whoever wrote this,
it's a bad list. I mean, give him the whole 10.
Give him.
I sure will. I was going to look up, Quinn Ewers' stats for you. Last season, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,100 yards. All right, so our list starts with, like we said, Drake May, then Caleb Williams.
That's ridiculous.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Number 3, I agree with, in Sam Hartman for Notre Dame. Number 4, I told you, Quinn Ewers of Texas. Number 5, Michael Penix of Washington.
That's right.
6, Bo Nix, Oregon.
Okay.
7, Jaden Daniels, LSU. That one I agree with. J.J. McCarthy, Michigan, 8. Will Howard, Kansas State, 9. And Cam Rising, Utah, 10.
The list isn't terrible, to Hayes' point. The list isn't terrible other than obviously Caleb Williams is first, and then obviously Jordan Travis belongs in the top 5, 6, 7.
Absolutely.
Other than that, the list is fine, but those two, those are obvious gaps.
Yeah, I mean, if you substituted Quinn Ewers for Jordan Travis
right.
and put Caleb Williams 1,
then the list is fine.
Then you'd be all right.
All right, let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping the rubber on the road with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
Rick Ballou, they're winding down practice over there at that Miller Center, almost ready for a football game. You ready for a football game, bro?
Yeah, I am, and I think everything changes now with the first team getting a little bit of burn on Saturday, and it's going to be even a little bit more for certain guys. I would think at least 2 on that offensive line with Blake Hance and as well Anton Harrison. That was talked about a little bit earlier today. So, typically this first game doesn't mean all that much. I think this year the final game, unfortunately for Jag fans here, most of the play with the starters are going to be Saturday in Dallas and then next Saturday in Detroit.
Yeah, my guess is Doug's already said probably a series this week. My guess is next week in Detroit, you see about a quarter, maybe a quarter some change, and not at all in Miami. Is that your guess, Rick?
Yeah, that's my guess, and I think that can change depending on drives. I mean, if your defense picks off a ball on second down, I think they get another series. If your offense, if you throw a 75-yard touchdown pass from Trevor Lawrence, let's go to Josh Peterson for 75 yards, and I think that first-team offense is going to get a little bit more playing time. So I think they have it in their head what they want, but depending on what happens in game, that can always change.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. All right, what's coming up tonight? What are you doing on the show?
Blake Hance, ladies and gentlemen. Rangy.
Love it.
Right tackle, left guard, kid out of Northwestern. He was here in 2019 on the practice squads, traveled around the league a little bit, came back in November of a year ago, and again was on the practice squad and has an opportunity to be a starter until they figure out what's happening at left guard. So we're going to check in with him. I got a couple of other real good things planned, so looking forward to it here over the next couple hours.
All right, Jaguars and more coming up when Rick goes into the night. Thank you, Rick.
All right, thank you.
That'll do it for our program. I do want to thank our friends from Island Wing Company for having us out. Tomorrow, remember, it is the 2 to 4 edition on Thursdays now. 2 to 4 for our program, and then we turn it over to our friends at Jaguars Happy Hour, JP, Jeff, Doug Peterson, and a whole lot more. Folks, that'll do it. Don't go anywhere, though. Rick Ballou goes into the night right now. For Hayes, for Lauren, for R.J. Saunders, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.